shout it. Heard you like to party, and lucky you the party's in town. And we should take a chance to share in this romance. I promise I ain't fooling around. Girl, it's something good when we feeling higher than the ceiling. My words, they couldn't bring me down. But there's one thing that I want to know if we can get to. Whenever you can come around. Oh baby, can you it's like we got the world in the palm of our hands. Oh baby, won't you and whatever you fancy is my command. Baby, if tonight is the only time that you can hold me, well let's make plans for two. And baby, we can dance the whole night through. And baby, we can dance the whole night through.
We're dancing on moonlight cosmic. All I wanna do, your loving is so hypnotic. Ooh, colliding all night, can't stop it. Diving in a summer blue. Your loving is so hypnotic. Ooh, sweat so hot, wanna shock my body. Come on, come alive. If you want a good time, you got me. Lights, camera, action. Make you wanna love somebody. Drowning in these lights, fever colored high. Do you like it like that? Better heart, never beat, beat, beat so fast. Drop it up, down, back. Falling like a domino. We're dancing on moonlight cosmic. All I wanna do, your loving is so hypnotic. Ooh, colliding all night, can't stop it. Diving in a summer blue. Your loving is so hypnotic. So hypnotic. like you. If you want a good time, come get me. This beat is heaven. If we wanna toss a penny in a fountain, I wish for no goodbye. Do you like it like that? Yes. Better heart, never beat, beat, beat so fast. Drop it up, down, back. Yes. Falling like a domino. We're dancing on moonlight cosmic. All I wanna do, your loving is so hypnotic. Colliding all night, can't stop it. Heading in a summer blue. Your loving is so hypnotic. Can't get enough, can't get enough. Your loving, can't get enough, can't get enough, can't get enough. So hypnotic, can't get enough, can't get enough.
Well, it's Saturday, it's the final day of the Marina Rubicon Lanzarote 52 Super Series Sailing Week. It's been a big week for wind. We've only actually had 5 races so far, so a lot of pressure to try and get some good racing in today. Good news is the forecast is showing slightly less wind, as Michele Avaldi, the navigator on No Way Back, tells us. So Michele, give us some good news.
Probably the good news is that the forecast is predicting 2 or 3, maybe 4 knots less. If we're lucky, we can get a bit in the lee of the island and get some racing going. The coast will be very shifty and very puffy, so there will be some snake and ladders to face, but probably there's more chance to race than yesterday.
What have the last couple of days been like for the No Way Back team?
It's just chipping away, trying to improve on every little piece of the regatta. The difference between 4th and 8th is very small. It's half length at the top mark, at the first top mark. So we need to keep working on the meters to get that half length.
What are the key things?
Just be smooth. Everything happens inside your boat. There's a lot that can get better inside your boat, and then once you sorted out those little bits and pieces, then you can start looking outside.
Good to have Lucas back.
Say again, sorry?
Good to have Lucas back.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great set of eyes, and helping the afterguard and the back of the boat very much. So it's good to have the 3 of us back at work.
Does that just slot back into place immediately, or is there still some room for improvement there?
There's always room for improvement, and communication is a big part of it, and the way the communication works is always a big part. I think it's an evolving thing. Even if we've been racing together for the last 3 years, we would go every day out on the water trying to improve. So,
what do you think about the venue in general? I don't think we've been anywhere it's been as windy.
Yeah, this reminds a lot of Cascais. It's been really windy all the time. I think it's the period of the year. I've been in Puerto Calero with the 44 many times, and it was windy, but not as windy and not every day like this. But it's a great venue, a bit on the too high side of the things.
What about Puerto Calero, just looking briefly ahead, what do we expect there?
I think the main gradient wind will be very similar. It will change a lot by 10 or 15 degrees of the gradient wind direction, because I've seen in the models a few of these days that we wouldn't race here for too much wind. There would be no wind at all in Puerto Calera. So it's tricky. And I've been in the 44 once where we couldn't bike because of too much wind, and then we didn't race that day because of lack of wind. So it will be tricky. For sure it will be more puffy and more shifty than here.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean. At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
Well, a very good morning. Welcome to Lanzarote, to the Marina Rubicon Lanzarote 52 Super Series Sailing Week. The final day. It's incredible to think that we've only actually done 5 races. We've had 2 days without racing. It's been pretty tough for the sailors, for the owners, for everyone involved. But the good news is the breeze on the race course is manageable. It's going to be shifty, puffy, up and down. But the good news is we should go racing. We're going to have a great finale. We have Sled leading the regatta, having won the first 2 regattas of 2026. They're on top. They are 4 points clear at the top of the table at the moment, 13 points. Pat Breck, the French team, led early in the week and had a little bit of a tough day yesterday, or the day before yesterday, with a 9-pointer. They're in 17 points, 18 points for Alkedo Vitamina. The Italian team pushing hard and really have been one of the class acts this season, as indeed they were last year. Alpha Plus in 4th on 23 points, 31 for Platoon Aviation. Had a little bit of a tough time at times this week with losing quite a few spinnakers, rather too many spinnakers indeed. No way back, consistent but not able to hit the top spots so far. 33 points for them. Trinity Racing won the last race that we did in 7th on 35 also for Allegris, so really nothing in it between 5th and 8th place. Vayu in 44 for Provezza, 52 for Teasing Machine, Crioula on 54, and Gladiator unfortunately not able to race since day one. So that's the situation with the leaderboard. We've got Katie Dabson on the water, just over 2 minutes to go. Katie, it looks fantastic.
Hello there. Yes, it does. It's actually looking pretty glam out here. I mean, the sea state is super confused. You've got kind of like some big swell with some pretty churned up chop out here, which is going to make it super tricky to sail in. But the breeze is, I mean, it's nowhere near as windy as the other days. We've got some big kind of lulls coming down, which feel, I mean, my wind calibrations are probably wildly off after this week, and it feels like about 5 knots, but it's not. So I think you've probably got 12 to 15 in those lulls, and then the gusts are kind of 18 to 20. So it's big ranges out here. Confused sea state, big gust to lull kind of differences, and it's going to make for a really super interesting race course.
Robbie, what's your thoughts on this start? We have just over a minute to go. It's wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It looks like all the boats are sort of setting up towards that middle end of the line. They're obviously in a big breeze and also a bit of waves as well, so they just want to stay a wee bit further away from the line. I guess once they sort of get rumbling, then they can sort of chew up that distance, but they look nicely set up for all the boats there.
Katie, who have you got down at the pin end? We can see Vayu at the windward end of the group, no way back of a nice position.
So I'm actually got the luxury of being at the starboard end today, which is I can see heaps. But yeah, you can see Crioula down at the bottom end. They seem to really like that start. We've seen a lot of kind of that from them, that trying to be the pin end boat and then just being able to pick their lane and sail out to the left. But yeah, Crioula, the most pin boat at the moment, looking like they've got a good gap to the pin, so plenty of room to accelerate in, and it'll be on their time and distance and getting that right.
Alkedo coming into the boat end of the line with just less than 20 seconds to go. They have a gap to leeward. They should be able to build speed in there nicely. Allegri shaping up quite nicely. Platoon Aviation just a boat length behind the line, but building speed. Trinity just to leeward as well. Not picking up sled as yet, but the gun goes, and a nice start from the Italian team on Alkedo at the committee boat end of the line. And tacking off onto port immediately. That's the choice of Cameron Appleton, and the afterguard 9 and 10 are over the start line. So it's a recross for them. But a good start, really strong start for Alkedo Vitamina here at the committee boat end of the line. Allegri going quite nicely as well.
They're really nice from Alkedo Vitamina there, just sort of had their own gap, and they just chose their time to when to pull the trigger, and they were just easily able to tack off when they wanted. So they're heading out that right-hand side, which we've seen as a big strategy for all these teams in the previous races, Andy.
Indeed, we're just seeing actually in the end, Platoon Aviation have got quite a nice position where they are. Sled further to leeward, still going out to the left side. They are side by side, I think, with the main rivals for the title here in Lanzarote. That would be a sled just to weather. But at the moment, Paprec probably just got a slight advantage, Robbie.
Yeah, it looks to me like they do. They're just a wee bit further to leeward there, and it looks like on this nice drone shot, they're a wee bit punched out as well. You see sled just to windward of them, but they've both got nice lanes heading out to that left-hand side. It all looks quite even to me, and definitely the bunch, that top bunch is down that leeward end.
So, Kate, a good start from Alkedo Vitamina, electing to go right early.
Yeah, I think that start was super powerful. The boat end starts, it requires so much patience sometimes. You need to kind of be patient and wait for a gap to appear and let the rest of the fleet kind of sail away from you a bit, so that you wait for a gap, and it's really hard to kind of not be dragged in with the fleet, and they did a really nice job of executing that, and just relying on their own time and distance and kind of racing the course instead of racing the other boats to get across the line. But for me, I think their decision to tack out to this right-hand side, just looking at the where the wind is coming from in relation to the kind of volcanoes on the shore, I would expect there to potentially be a bit of a wind bend at the top. So I'd expect there to be a bit of gain on this right-hand side. So for me, I think we might, well, I mean, I don't want to, now that I say this, it's definitely going to be wrong, but I think this top right could be pretty powerful. So yeah, I think for me, they executed a really good start for that strategy.
In the meantime, Robbie Sled and Paprec close together with the Teasing machine in the middle. they're certainly keeping an eye on each other at this stage.
Yeah, that's right. They definitely started close to each other, and Sled elected to tack off first. And yeah, all those boats are now on port tack, so they've all chosen to get on that port board, hang out to the right-hand side. But you mentioned it, Sled and Paprec really, really close to each other, our regatta favourites, aren't they?
Indeed, a slightly better situation just now for Platoon Aviation. Platoon Aviation have shown so well in the early stages of just about every race and then had their problems. So maybe the German team can finish on something of a high note. But they're in a reasonably strong position at the moment. The best position seems to be Alpha Plus, furthest to that left side, quite high on port. And let's see how it plays out for Alkedo Vitamina, who have chosen the right side.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Alkedo, Vitamina, and then also Alpha Plus, you know, the opposite ends of the spectrum in this fleet, in this start particularly. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of come back. We see the on-water shot there, it all looks quite even, and they almost look like they're in a bit of left phase, but we'll see once Alkedo, Vitamina come back to see how they sort of shape up in this fleet.
A very difficult Provezza and Crioula then immediately on the back foot, both over the start line, had to recross. I think the second time we've seen that for Provezza, having just too many errors in their playbook, as it were. But in the meantime, Alpha Plus challenging Alkedo Vitamina for third spot on the podium. Just a few 5 points between them as they go into this race. So certainly Alkedo Vitamina have to keep an eye on Alpha Plus. At the moment it would be quite even. Alpha Plus strong on that left side and actually probably lifting away very slightly from Paprec. The breeze seems to be up and down and very shifty, as you said initially, Katie, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think just because it's coming off the land and we're kind of relatively close to the land. But yeah, it's kind of feels super, not phasey, but yeah, the lulls are really big and lasting quite a long time, and then equally then you get like the next phase is quite a big gust, and the difference is really quite big, which is probably going to make it really quite hard to manage setup. I think the important thing is going to be transitioning between those phases, trying to make sure that you're not kind of sailing into a gust unprepared for it, and this is where the wind calls are going to be super important on the boat. Whoever's calling the breeze in down the course, that's going to be really critical today, because they want to be prepared when the gust hits. You want to be prepared so that you can accelerate into it and you can really make the most of it, rather than kind of allowing the boat to heel over, slow down a bit, having to reset. And the same for the lulls. You don't want the boat to come on top of you and slow down too much and have to bear away and end up losing kind of speed and height. So that for me is going to be really critical today.
Indeed, just watching Paprec and Sled pretty much side by side. Of course, Paprec need to have, or they need to get 4 boats between them and Sled over the course of this race if they're going to take the lead for sure. But I think, Katie, we can expect to get 2 races in today, you would imagine, given the conditions. Could prove to be the curse of the commentator.
Yeah, I don't see any reason. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. At the moment, we're pretty, like, a fair few knots down on the races we had the other day, so I think all things considered, I think we should be good, hopefully.
It's looking still looking reasonably even. Platoon Aviation actually going quite nicely in the kind of middle right, as it were, but it's a big test, I think, of boat speed, and as Katie was saying, kind of changing gear through the lulls, trying to avoid the lulls, using the pressure to best effect. We can see the team's really working hard. But much gustier conditions we've seen, but certainly very much more manageable conditions.
Yeah, it also looks like the waves are a bit flatter as well, Andy, and looks like they're just getting through the water, sort of the bows getting through the water just a wee bit nicer than they had in previous days. So, and you can probably expect that to happen as they get further up to this top mark, as they get close to the shore. But Katie mentioned about the shifting and the puffy pressure. It'll be interesting to see how these teams sort of navigate that.
Indeed, but looking good just now for Sled as our nominal leader in these this early stages of this first beat race, number 6. Big finale today. Sled have won both regattas. They'd be, if they could win here, that would be their 4th in a row. Remember, they won the final regatta of last season in Porto Cervo. And in the history of the 52 Super Series, only Quantum has won 4 regattas in a row. So they could potentially equal that. They're certainly going well at the moment. No Way Back had a good start, very low risk, nice open position on the start line. Just watching there, Trinity, just you can see the breeze going up and down, and Joachim Sundberg, the helmsman, just having to respond to that, keep the boat moving. Platoon Aviation tacking into the lee bow of, or just into the lee bow, but just in a little bit of a lull. I think Alkedo will just about be able to roll them, or maybe not. Alkedo won't be able to live there for very long. Paprec coming across on port. This right side looking quite good now then, Robbie, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like they picked a good time to come back into the fleet. It looks like they're on a bit of a right-hand shift for them. It's hard to tell with, you know, these different breeze pressures on who's actually on what lift that's going to win out, but looks like Alkedo Vitamina did a nice job of just picking their time to come back into the fleet, and it'll be very, very tight. It'll be interesting to see what they do from here.
Indeed, but Sled absolutely impeccable, really. Just getting their timing right coming back to the fleet. But clearly have good upwind speed in these conditions that we've seen so far this week. But No Way Back, I think probably in their best position they've had so far this regatta. Saving the best till last, but good insights from Michele Valde this morning, just saying they just needed to keep improving in every little area.
Yeah, you mentioned it about the upwind speed that Sled have. Obviously, a good start really helps, but then also I think a big emphasis for all these teams is whether you can actually hold your lane, right? All these teams and boats are very, very close together, so if you can really tune in that upwind speed and that height and you can live in your lane, then I think it pays big dividends, especially on the first upwind mark.
In general, the fleet's starting to converge to the right side. Paprec have not been able to hold their position so far. Platoon Aviation, this is the important point, is you just need to still minimise your manoeuvres, not be bounced about too much, and that I would say has been one of the platoon's problems generally, ending up doing a lot of manoeuvres, which has been penalised them a little bit in the strong conditions. Whereas probably one of the teams on the opposite side of that strategy, if you like, is Vayu. Trinity are the past masters of that. They really pick their side and just stick with it. Vayu seem to be going quite well just now. This right side getting stronger all the time as the fleet try to get out to starboard tack ley line, coming into the top mark. How's the ley line looking, Katie? Who do you see is coming in first round the top mark?
None of the boats have quite yet tacked onto ley line. I think it's going to be quite a tricky one to call, because I think not only will you have actual kind of wind direction shifts, but I think you'll get some pressure shifts as well, with the lulls and the gusts being so different. For me, yeah, tacking kind of further away from the windward mark or coming in further away from the ley line, it is riskier, because you have to judge the ley line from further out, which is a lot harder. But equally, I think this right-hand side is looking pretty strong. So if they can kind of manage that, then that would be good. I think No Way Back is the first boat to tack back onto this ley line. It's whether Sled decides to tack inside. If they do, then that could kind of pay off for them, and they could round in first. Yeah, it looks like they have actually. So and then you've got Platoon, the most lured boat. So I think it fully just depends. I mean, we've seen them in that position before, and they've been kind of rounding in second, but not quite made the mark and had to jibe out. So it's quite a high risk strategy from them. They have gone quite tacked quite early below Sled, so quite a tight ley line, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. But for me, Sled looking pretty good at the moment to potentially round in first.
Indeed, as you said, Katie, Platoon Aviation just coming up above ley line just now in the gusts, but if they get a lull, they'd be struggling, and they will It will get dottier, it'll get more up and down as they get in towards the windward mark, but this could be a good moment. You can see the boats to weather just starting to bring the bow down, come in with more speed. Looking like it could be sled round in first, Platoon Aviation just coming inside, no way back. So sled round leading, really nice call at the windward mark. Platoon Aviation round second, no way back in third. And sled will be able to set first and get away. Slingshot down the first run. Vayu, in fact, get round in fourth. Sled under pressure with big gust coming in for Platoon Aviation behind, but sled gets set and keep the bow up, just protecting. No way back, just behind them. Platoon Aviation third, Vayu. Paprec down in seventh just now. So got the good fortune to bring in Chris Hosking as we watch the boats clearing the offset mark. What do you take away from that first beat, Chriso?
Yeah, g'day guys. I think you can see that Maria's moved the course a little bit further to the east today. Underneath the big mountains in the background there, you can see behind all the spinnakers, I don't know the name of those mountains, but they're about 2,000 feet tall, and there's a convergence line of pressure that bends around either side of that mountain, and that's what's created this slightly softer pressure that we're seeing on the racetrack today. I think the guys on the right probably sailed into the convergence line and got a little bit lighter up that first beat, and the guys in the middle and middle left did better up that beat.
Indeed, but sled got it just right, didn't they, Chris? So they just stayed patient, had their strategy and kind of stuck to it, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not too many risks, you know. I think that's a sign of a great team, that they don't need to go hitting the corners, for sure.
So it looks like a straight set, straight downhill.
Yeah, so big left-hand shift and probably a little bit more pressure on the left, as I said, away from that convergence line. So more pressure on the left-hand side of the racetrack and slightly left-shifted, so that's why everybody's going straight out of the top mark.
And very gusty. We can see Patrick, they're working hard in a big gust, which they came round in seventh already, up to fifth, coming down this downwind. They've been quick, consistently quick downwind, are the French team. Chriso. Yeah,
they're sailing well. Clearly they're heavier specialists, you know. They've been sailing well in the breeze. Yeah, good fun team to watch. Sad that we're not out there right now. I'm missing the racing, having sitting there watching it.
Getting the FOMO.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
But good to get this perspective and just have a look at the fleet in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I took the chase boat out day before yesterday and went and watched the racing, and it's always good to see a different perspective, have an eye on different things that other boats are doing rather than what you're trying to do yourself. So it's nice to see all these different angles of the sport that we love doing.
Platoon Aviation in a good position just now. They've really struggled through the week, losing kites. They've been in good positions at the windward mark on the first runs, and then they've been punished by damage problems.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? You know, when spinnakers break, none of us want it, and it creates a lot of work for the sailmakers. But Platoon look in quite a strong position there tactically. Obviously, the next move's going to be a jibe onto port at some point in time as they get down closer to the ley line here, and they're going to be strong to potentially get a jump on sled on the jibe back onto port here. Yeah.
On board then with the Platoon Aviation, what can you tell us about their setup just now? What are we seeing?
It's probably an A2 or an A2 plus spinnaker, probably still on M3 mains. Jib stays up downwind when it's windy. It's hard to say if it's a 3 plus. I think maybe the jib that they're on. Looks like they're setting up here to jibe now. Yep, off they go. And who's that behind them? Nowhere back, trying to get a jump on Platoon. And sled's got a little bit on here.
Yeah, they've not quite made the smarter or the best jibe they've done all week for sure.
Yeah,
and jibing into a little bit of a lull, perhaps just losing some pace relative to Platoon Aviation in front, and also that next gust rolling down, and we'll hit no way back in the next few seconds.
Yeah, certainly a little bit vulnerable sled there, but I think they'll be setting up to go right gate at the bottom mark. Interesting feature on this racetrack here is there's a lot more current down on the bottom of the track than there is up the top. There's up to a knot of current going from east to west down the bottom half of the track.
That's from our right to left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as we're watching it right to left, and as we get further up the track, the current goes around to the northeast and drops down to half a knot. So that's why you see the water's a little bit bumpy down the bottom of the track, and the water's much flatter at the top of the track, the top half of the track.
So Patrick doing some nice work coming down this run, haven't they? They've got themselves up a couple of places.
Yeah, they'll be pushing hard. Obviously, you know, them and Sled have been the benchmark boats this week, and yeah, good to see the French up there fighting back into contention.
Trinity Racing there out on the left seem to have a bit of pace, sailing a little bit of a hotter angle for the meantime.
Yeah, probably lifted. I think the pressure's sort of going behind them there by the looks of things, and yeah, they're probably a little bit light and lifted where they're heading. You can see that on the tracker there. They're up and off compared to everybody else to lure to them.
But Platoon Aviation certainly on the attack, Katie, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's super impressive from them with their speed, because they're just back at the windward mark, their hoist. They had a bit of a slow hoist. The kite took quite a long time to fill because it had a bit of a wrap in the middle of it, and it took a while to fill compared to Sled. So Sled got a bit of a jump on them at the windward. So for Platoon to have been able to come back and be kind of now in this controlling position is super impressive. It just shows that they have got some serious pace downwind when they need it.
I think just ahead of Sled. Patrick have a nice position there, Chris, don't they?
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. As you can see in the footage, you know, the waves are up. So as I said before, we're getting into more current down the bottom half of the racetrack, and the sea state's picking up. So I think the current's probably lee-bowing them a little bit there as they're going down on port. So it'll be interesting to see if Platoon can lay into left gate at the bottom here. If they don't have to jibe and go straight, they're in a really strong position.
And Sled?
Yeah, Sled, yeah, they've probably lost 2 or 3 boats here. It's, yeah, they've got a bit of work to do.
They do, and No Way Back seem to be having a pretty solid run. All the time they like to minimise the risk. You never see them in the corners, Chriso.
No, absolutely not. No, Terry's he's a genius up the middle of the racetrack, doesn't take any great risks, and that's why those guys are so consistent.
But just tell us about picking the position to do that jibe, just coming in here.
Yeah, well,
You've
clearly
got to do it in pressure and without the big chop and the big waves.
Yeah, well, they obviously didn't manage to lay into the left-hand gate. So, yeah, you can see Platoon dropping their spinnaker now and setting up to go. What are they doing? They're going right gate, so they're going to probably come out of this one and go straight and be tacking shortly. To consolidate their position.
That's been quite nice, hasn't it? They've just kept their speed and able to make a nice rounding.
Yeah.
Meantime, it's super close between Patrick and Sled there. Sled, I think Patrick have got mark room.
Yep, and maybe Alpha Plus does too here. Yep, certainly Alpha Plus has room.
That's a close one.
Yeah, there'll be some red flags waving around there for sure. Bit of yelling.
Loic's shouting politely as he does. But Alpha Plus have come out of that very nicely, haven't they?
Yeah,
Saw
absolutely.
the opportunity, but...
yeah, as I said there, you know, Platoon have gone right gate, gone for probably a minute and tacked on to port to consolidate their position over the top of the rest of the fleet.
So Sled have got a penalty, we believe, for that move. So that's a tough one for them. The door opens a little bit for the Paprec team. So Sled have to complete their penalty. Losing boats, Chris, aren't they?
Yeah, I missed what happened to Sled there. I wasn't watching them, but yeah, that's trouble for those guys and puts the title back under challenge again.
Sled and Paprec at the mark. I think Sled didn't give Paprec quite enough mark room, and in the end that allowed Alpha Plus to squeeze in.
Right, costly mistake from the Sled boys.
Just when they don't need it, however, the door opens very slightly for Paprec. You can just see the team which has won both regattas this season just coming in to do their turn now, I think, Chriso.
Yep. Yeah, penalty turn. That's going to cost them dearly. And they have to avoid Pravetsa and the other boat there while they complete their penalty.
So full circle and have to settle down, get the the boat going again and settle themselves mentally.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Doing penalties in this wind speed, obviously, you jibe and you've got to get the runner back up to max again. So you can see Kean on the back handles there working hard on the grinder pedestal to get the runner back up to max and get the boat going again.
So there you go. That would be the outcome if position stayed the same through the finish line. Where the leeward were just completed the leeward gate sled, taking that penalty, sees the French team on top by 3 points at the moment. If position stayed the same through the finish line, it would be Patrick resuming the regatta lead. Sled would go in second, and Alpha Plus would be in third, or Alpha Plus or Alkedo. It's that close. But the initiative, the momentum is back with the French team. They just needed something to happen in their favour. As Johan Richomme there on the rail. But the fleet's starting to open out a little bit now, Chriso.
Yeah, obviously now it's a race back up to the top mark. Everybody, or most of the fleet's on port, all trying to get to land as quickly as possible. Yeah, platoon in a commanding position. Really nice job down that run. They got out of the top mark, set themselves up in a really strong position tactically with sled down on the inside of them, beat them to the jibe, and sailed a great run to be taking a commanding lead in this race.
We've seen platoon improve this season in terms of speed. They struggled a little bit at times last year.
Yeah, I think
done a bit.
Yeah, new boats, not like a car that you take out of the dealership and turn the key on and they work straight away. It takes a bit of time to get new boats up and running. Even in this fleet with the calibre of people that we have here, and they've made some modifications to the boat this season. I think they have new appendages, a new keel, rudder and bulb, and clearly that boat's going really nicely.
It is indeed. Just had one or two too many penalties and problems, but hopefully they always come good. They always have a late season charge, don't they, the German team?
Yeah, the boys there, scrappy fighters on that boat. I do a lot of sailing with Vasco. He's a great charismatic guy to sail with, and he won't leave a millimetre on the racetrack.
But anyway, this would be a good win for them if they can hold on to their position. They've got over 150 metres back to No Way Back. What's your evaluation, your assessment of the No Way Back programme? I think we could have started the season and everybody was saying, well, they're just quantum in a different colours, but it's very different to that, isn't it?
Well, it's like an orchestra, isn't it? You change one of the musical instruments and, all of a sudden you've got to develop your team again. So same thing here, you change one guy on the boat and you've got to get your rhythm and get everybody into sync again and create the magic. So, yeah, they're not what they used to be for sure, but I know they're an excellent group of people, great team, and don't write them off just yet,
And a race win in any size, shape or form is a big confidence boost, even for these guys who have won the circuit title, won the world title 3 times. A race win just gives you that little bit of spring in your step, doesn't it?
For sure, they know how to win, those guys.
Anyway, they're in a good position, and of course Vasco always likes to have Terry behind him.
They love a good fight, those two.
However, it would be great to see these two, and Alpha Plus I think are kind of been the dark horses this season. They're really starting to put a season together, regattas together. They're a strong program.
Absolutely, yeah. They've got a good boat, good sail program. They're one of the Quantum training group, so we work together with them and No Way Back with the Gladiator team, and we share all of our data analysis. We have our debriefs and meetings together and look at all our sail pitches and things and work as a group to try and make our team go faster. So they're a part of that group, and I think it shows on the water.
Obviously, as they sled are as deep as they've been probably in any race, certainly between here and Porto Cervo. We had one bad race in Porto Cervo, didn't they, when they had a double penalty? Was that Porto Cervo or Portals? I can't remember, but generally they've been super consistent. This is tough times for the new world champions.
Yeah, I think one of the goals that we all try to do as sailors is try and sail with our noses clean and not put yourself into places of doubt. You don't want to put your hands in the hands of the umpire. We're all good friends with the umpires and everybody, but you put yourself into a situation where the outcome is dependent on the guy in the chase boat making a decision. You don't know which way it's going to go. So Yeah, you know, normally those guys do a pretty nice job of keeping their noses clean and staying out of trouble, and you can see what happens when you do get into trouble. You get a couple of penalties and all of a sudden you're back in 11th place.
So there we go. It's up and down all the time. Let's have a quick look at the projected standings. Well, there you go. Alkedo Vitamina would take the regatta leader position. Stayed the same. Paprec dropping. It's changing all the time, and I'm pretty sure Chrissa will get a second race. So there's plenty of racing still to go in this regatta.
Yeah, it looks like the guys are, you know, guys and girls are handling the conditions quite nicely here. You can see the mains setting nicely, and it isn't flapping too much. You know, it's not ragging out. So yeah, the boys look comfortable there, and I think Maria's got until 3:30 to get another race away. So I'm sure we'll be in for another great race here today.
Indeed, on board with Alkedo. I think they're lying second overall for the season at the moment. What's your evaluation of the season so far, Chris? We're at the halfway point. Who's your star performers and who could do better?
Well, clearly Sled are doing well. They won the World Championships last regatta. They're obviously strong here, apart from the small mess-up that we've just been watching. You know, I expect Platoon to always be a strong boat. Vitamina have come out super strong and are doing a really nice job. We're watching them here going into attack now. Chris Brittle winding on the new runner there. He's got a big job on his hands. Yeah, it's a great fleet. Obviously, we're disappointed with where we are, having won the World Championship a couple of years ago. We, you know, having a bit of a rough season of it, and the gear failure never helps you. So we need to
just give us a little bit of an update of what you have to do with the Gladiator. Obviously, the gear failure. What happened, and where does it go from here?
Yeah, sadly, race day 2, we're doing our pre-start routine and just winding up onto the breeze to check our sail settings before going back to get into the start area, and a part in the headstay of the boat failed up at the top of the mast and pulled the headstay out of the rig. So it's a miracle the rig didn't come crashing down, but we managed to get the boat back to the dock safely, get the rig out, and now we have a team coming in to do some non-destructive testing to work out exactly how to effect a repair to get ourselves back on the water for the next event.
So Patrick just lured of Allegra. That's going to be tough for them to get out of that position for the meantime. Sean Kostecki joining Allegra, one of the greats of the sport, John.
Yep, he's brilliant. He's medalist, Volvo Ocean Race winner, America's Cup champion. You don't get much better than that guy.
But it's taking a little bit of time, but they're certainly settling into his ways, as it were, I think, in a very positive influence in the team.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I've done quite a bit of sailing with JK in a few different classes, and it's always an honour to sail with a guy as talented as he is.
So anyway, Paprec on board with them. We're getting great shots from on board. You love these shots, Chris, so you really feel that you're part of it. Makes the FOMO even worse, does it?
Yeah, I can feel my wet shoes from here.
You can feel, yeah. Exactly. You can. So yeah, Katie, how's this beat looking for you?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, the breeze is super up and down. I think it's 16 to 22 knots is the range we've got at the moment, and you can kind of see the shifts, watching the boats, watching the trackers, and the teams are kind of really starting to take some of those shifts back, and it is kind of like a bit of a game of snakes and ladders at the moment. People are trying to like bank the gains where they can on the shifts and work their way up to this windward mark. No one's wanting to get out on that ley line too early by the looks of it, just because it does seem to be pretty shifty. But Platoon kind of out in front of the fleet, done a really, really nice job of just staying in front and staying between the mark and the fleet, and kind of, yeah, following leading the fleet, back out towards this right-hand side, and then taking a couple of shifts back up, and they should have a pretty nice lead coming into this windward. But the rest of the fleet is actually super compressed. I think we're going to have quite a lot of boats hitting that ley line at the same time, so potentially a bit of action to come at this windward mark.
Indeed, Katie, you'll keep us posted. But you're just watching as Patrick were coming in on port. It's going to be busy once again. We saw this yesterday. Actually, Paprick not as bad as I kind of thought, but no way back. Crystal looked to be quite comfortable there coming in on port.
Yeah.
Nice approach from the team.
Yeah, as Katie said, it's risky to get yourself, commit yourself to a ley line early with the sprees being so puffy and shifty. You can see how shifty it is with the boats with the heel changing dramatically with these big puffs and lulls coming through on the racetrack. So, yeah, Terry taking a little bit more of a conservative approach, not committing to the ley line and doing 2 short ones in front of a big group behind here. So, who's that? Allegre
come out of that quite nicely in the end,
thin
considering
lay.
they were alongside Paprick just a few seconds ago. They're going to get round alongside Alpha Plus.
Yep.
And Vayu behind. Actually, the loser, such as it is in this approach, has been Alkedo.
Yep, dirty there. So they'll be a little bit slow to get round the first mark here and use the offset to accelerate, getting ready to hoist a spinnaker.
So Vayu generally a pretty solid race for them. Paprick in 6th coming round. See whether they can take a couple of places with their downwind speed.
Yeah, lots of opportunities there from Vitamina all the way through that group of 5 boats there. Plenty of racing to go for those guys on this last run back to the finish line.
Paprick just trying to reposition themselves in close to the offset mark. Just sail a shorter distance and keep the door closed on the Italians. Nice set from Paprick. Get the kite up early and fully launched. Meantime, I think that's Allegra, is it, who are having a little bit of a broach.
Yeah, yep, and then Alpha Plus to where they're having to avoid without receiving.
This is all to the good of the French team and indeed.
Absolutely, yeah, and the Vayu guys.
Vayu, yes, that's right.
And even Vitamina. All 3 of them now are in a strong position tactically relative to Allegre and Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus looks like they're having some trouble getting the spinnaker sheet back on there.
Paprick just in a little bit of a difficult position with the dirty air of Alkedo behind. This is really where crew coordination comes into it. Just Alpha Plus having to do a penalty there.
So clearly there was contact probably with the spinnaker there of Alpha Plus hitting Allegre. We got another one of those ourselves with Gladiator the other day and blew up a spinnaker when we ran our spinnaker into the back of Allegre. It's something you want to try and avoid.
So just watching then with Paprick, these are great moments. It's all about trying to stay with the breeze. Alkedo were just blanketing Paprick, but Paprick now are fully launched, getting themselves out to windward into the train ride south, as it were, down to the leeward mark.
Yep, as you can see once again, everyone choosing to do a bear away set. So the pressure is left shifted. It's the gaining leg down to the finish line, and clearly good pressure down that side of the track.
But it's going to be all on between the Allegra platoon making their jibe. Actually, no way back, coming down quite nicely. So this would see the positions on the leaderboard change going into what we'd imagine to be the final race. Paprick would go into the final race with a 2-point lead ahead of Sled. Alkedo Vitamina 24 points, tied on points. And Platoon Aviation 32. You'd imagine that that's too much for the Germans to make it to the podium as they did on the last day in Porto Cervo. But Sled fully launched in a big gust coming downwind, but it's too much for them to do.
Yeah, sadly
you would never have thought that. You go in the water, you just think they've been the most consistent team this season. Nothing, they're kind of impervious, and then they pick up a big penalty at that leeward gate.
Yeah, got to try and keep your nose clean. You get into trouble, you get penalised. That leeward runner under the boom on Paprick there, guys. You need to clean that up. Still plenty windy here.
Yeah, it's all about picking the gusts coming downwind and not sailing too much distance, Chris, is it?
Yeah, you can sort of see no way back gain nicely on Platoon down the run. I think the guys behind Platoon probably come around in a little bit more slightly left shifted air, so they're all down inside in pressure. We can see a little skid there from Platoon, a little rudder stall. Nice save by Cheesies in the main out of the jibe there.
A little bit of shouting.
Won't be much shouting at all.
Won't be much
They'll be
shouting.
real calm.
Yeah.
Oh, look, No Way Back's into him here. Maybe got a piece there.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Platoon having to drive back here.
So it's all on in the end.
It's all on.
With a 150-metre lead coming away from the weather mark. Meantime, Paprec streaking down to that right side in pressure. Probably a little bit less pressure down the middle of the course for them just now. But the Paprec team looking across, monitoring the two leading boats in particular.
Shaping up to be a great finish here between No Way Back and Platoon. Great adversaries, Terry and Vasco. Here we go. Watch the
So they lose
flags.
their money on.
There'll be some flags and there'll be some yelling and screaming. Watch this, boys.
And that's only in Platoon. Anyway, great. It was ever thus head-to-head. Platoon Aviation, the 3 times world champions, the 2023 circuit champions, against many of the former members of the Quantum Racing team. Paprec, what do you think of them, Chris, out on that right side looking downwind? It's a big separation for the moment.
Yeah, there is. They're looking like they'll certainly should be able to consolidate a top 3, top 4 position for them, which I think they'll be happy taking that, considering their 6 places in front of Sled. This is going to be interesting with No Way Back and Platoon. I think No Way Back's just going to continue all the way to the finish lay line, and really not too many options for Vasco here. Vasco and the Platoon guys.
But a big gust for Paprec we're see in the middle of the picture, so fully launched, Katie.
Yeah,
Don't know where you are at the moment, but it's shaping up to be a great finish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd be eyes on Paprec at the moment. I think it's always tricky when there is you're going around a lot with a lot of boats at the windward mark, because you kind of actually don't want the boats in front of you to have any issues, because then you end up going into the back of them, and then you have to make the decision to jibe or you have to go high, and then there's the problems. But Paprec kind of decided to not engage. They went in a super high mode, like absolutely sent it down that right hand side looking downwind, went over. It looks like Platoon, just getting in front of No Way Back there. But yeah, Paprec going around the outside of Vayu and Alkedo and kind of the carnage, using their speed that we know they have. And that's got them into a really strong position. And I actually think, looking at their position now, I think they could be coming in for definitely a 4th or a 3rd, hopefully.
Indeed, Platoon Aviation and No Way Back super close there. Platoon Aviation electing to jibe and go back at No Way Back, or just consolidate round the bows of No Way Back. But No Way Back have been struggling to get their kite going, Chriso.
Yeah, the risk, Vasco took a bit of a risk there, the Platoon guys.
Vasco risk.
Yeah, managing to put a jibe in and complete a jibe and get onto starboard before No Way Back had to avoid. It was obviously a calculated one by Vasco. He's pulled it off without getting a penalty, and now coming back, back
we're that
across
close to the finish.
Put No Way Back to bed here.
Yeah, indeed. So it's looking for the moment like it should be okay for Platoon Aviation. We're going to get their first win off the regatta, and really well deserved. They've held their composure, they've pushed the risk when they needed to, and they come away with a race win, and that to say will be a big confidence boost. Of a little bit of an emotional roller coaster this week so far. No Way Back, same thing applies to a point. They've come through in second. Now it's going to be super close with Paprec on that right side coming in on port. Allegri going across on starboard. They'll jibe in front of Alkedo. It could be Alkedo have got the momentum to get through the line, Chriso.
Yeah, a little bit late from Allegri, that jibe there, and Vitamina is going to roll over the top and take the 3rd spot in this race, I think.
Could be.
Close.
It's going to be tough for Paprec to leeward, but I think they should still get through in 5th probably.
Yeah, I give that one to Vitamina, Allegri, and then Vayu and Paprec really close too there. I'd give that to Paprec. Close racing.
What a great finish. French just losing out a little bit, lost a couple of boats, being perhaps a little bit too ambitious on that final run. Katie, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think they did the right thing on starboard, but I think coming back on port is always going to be tricky. You're kind of going to be held out to that ley line, have to come back, and you have to have good speed. And then, yeah, you're quite vulnerable to any boats that are coming across on starboard. And they just ended up, unfortunately, didn't have quite enough speed to get in front of the bunch, and just ended up in the dirty air. So we're quite slow coming in, so lost a couple of places. But, I mean, they kind of did all they could. I mean, you could see them fighting for it. It's just, yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
But the key thing, Chris, in the end, Patrick 5th, Sled getting up to 8th. I think it should be Sled still leading the regatta. Then there were 4 points clear going into this race. So a little bit of a good recovery for Sled, considering where they were at 1 point. They managed to take a couple of places down that final run, I think.
Yeah, every point counts in the 52 Super Series for this regatta and for the overall season point score. So I know the Sled guys will be super disappointed with the penalty that they received at the bottom mark there, but being able to recover a couple of points is what it's all about here. You can see the current I was talking about. You can see the race committee boat there. Not lined up with the breeze, they're lined up with the current. So that goes to give you an indicator of how much current there is on the racetrack in the bottom half of the track.
So how important is that in terms when you're at speed and coming downwind?
Well, obviously, it makes the navigator's job a lot trickier. Picking ley lines is the one, but we've got these incredible navigational software on these boats that can detect the current and calculate how much there is and calculate the ley lines. So it makes the navigator's job a little bit trickier, but all the teams out there doing a pretty nice job. It's a factor on the start as well. You know, the committee boat end opens up a lot more with all the fleet getting dragged down the line by the current. Makes the pin end ley line a little bit more vulnerable with the current setting you down beyond the pin. So I'm sure all the teams will be looking at that closely and monitoring the current in between the races as well as the wind speed and direction, and getting themselves prepared for the next race. The boys will be downstairs packing the spinnakers now. Be another couple of guys down there helping get any last little bit of water out of the boats and get a bit of food and a bit of hydration on board and get ready for the next one.
What's the food?
A lot of energy bars. Yeah. A lot of the grinders are much more disciplined than, say, somebody like me.
Who likes a donut?
I probably get into the chocolates a bit more. But the boys.
You need the sugar for the energy, but you need to just make sure you don't have a crash.
Oh, that's it. So there's lots of those energy gels and bits and pieces, that kind of stuff, but lots of water. That's one thing that we really pride ourselves on with the Gladiator team, is really taking hydration to the next level and making sure everybody drinks plenty so that we all hopefully continue to think clearly and make smart decisions and, don't make any mistakes.
Yeah, Teasing Machine, I think, is still to finish, unfortunately. Lost a kite. I mean, I usually say, Chris, so every point, every place is precious. We've seen a few boats coming down, kind of in delivery mode down the last run, just to make sure they get the point.
Yeah, it's disappointing when you tear two spinnakers. One down the first run clearly and another one down the second run, and now you got to limp home under main and jib alone. It's a lot slower and it's a little bit humiliating. We had to do that on race day one. I think it's the first time in my sailing career that I have ever had to sail down the last run without a spinnaker on, and it's a little bit embarrassing.
But however, it's all to the good. It's all to make sure you get the points.
Absolutely.
Maximum number of points. But Katie was telling us yesterday a little bit about the one of the reasons why we've seen so many kites blown. But you were talking about it earlier on. It's all about the fact that these A4 kites, I think in particular, is it that they've hardly been used.
Yeah, there used to be a class rule on the cloth weight for the A4, and that's been taken away now. So clearly we've made our A4s out of a lighter fabric. But yeah, all the sails are stored in a 40-foot container in between the regattas, and we all have air conditioning units in the container. But it's a question of whether the heat and humidity temperature changes has maybe affected the cloth of some of these sails that we haven't used that often. And that's why we had so many spinnakers blowing up on race day one. I think we had 9 on race day one. We were 2 of the 9 on our boat. So we'll obviously be going back to the cloth manufacturers and our sail designers and having a good think about it for the future.
Indeed. But I think in terms of manufacturers, it's kind of across the board. There was no brand was better or worse than the others.
No, I mean, we all use the same cloth suppliers. Yeah. There's 3 different types of cloth, and we use them for the different weights of spinnakers through the wind range. And clearly our A4s haven't had a lot of use. We've been sailing in the Mediterranean maybe a bit too much, and we need to get out into the Atlantic a bit more and into this big breeze, as maybe a few teams were a little bit underprepared.
Indeed, that's a big philosophical question we'll go into in just in a few seconds, but we know that Alpha Plus did not finish or weren't given a finish because they had a penalty which they didn't complete, so they've had to go back across the the finish line is where go back upwind and do the penalty and then recross the line. So that I think that the positions will change. We'll just keep an eye on that. But it's lots of fun and games in this race.
And that's a costly mistake if that's the case for those guys, because I think they were having a
They
good
worked
regatta.
hard and they had a good finish.
They've been sailing well, and they'll be ruining that one if that's the case.
But Katie, no reason why we can't go into race 2 as far as we know.
Yeah, no, none at all. I mean, conditions are pretty similar to the first race. Wind's still super up and down. It's good to go for me.
Chris, so potential for 3 races? You tend not to. I mean, that's the general philosophy at the moment.
Yeah, marginal.
Especially when it's breezy and we have older owners.
Yeah, as we said, she's got till 3:30, so she's got a few hours left yet, but I think she'll give the guys and girls plenty of time and opportunity here to prepare for the second race, and I'd say that'll probably be it for the regatta.
Mm-hmm. But you're very much a fan of coming to windier venues. These boats were originally designed to do the Transpac, and they're very different beasts now. Yeah. I mean, I think the 52 Super Series has done probably the majority of it sailing in the Mediterranean, and as we know, in the mid, the average wind speed distribution is probably 8 to 12 knots. We spend about 60% of our season sailing in that. So naturally the boats get optimised towards those conditions that we see the most of. We probably spend less than 2% of our season sailing over 22, 23 knots. So clearly we don't put that as much of a priority as we probably should. You can see spinnakers failing and boats breaking pieces here and there. So we need to lift our game a little bit at these windier venues. So it's a time for Sled to get back on the horses that were after that 8th. They did pull back a few places, and also for Paprec to kind of get ready to push. They've not yet won a regatta. They lost the Worlds by a single point last year in Cascais. They've learned from their So Alpha Plus getting 12th there in the end. We're just hearing that on the radio. I beg your pardon for stopping my flow of chat, but we're just hearing Maria confirming that Alpha Plus ended up getting a 12th there. So as Chris said, that's an expensive error. I don't know whether they didn't realise they'd got a penalty or whether they just didn't take it, but certainly that cost them a lot of places, a lot of points, and they'll have to fight back from there. So
for those guys,
you feel for them, Chris, don't you? And but all credit to Sled. They kept their momentum after their penalty, did it as quickly as possible, and got back into the groove to get that 8th place. But it's going to be a fascinating second race. Platoon Aviation clearly on fire. They were in the top 2, top 3. Even I think led round a few windward marks earlier in the week, and then had their technical problems, but clearly have the boat going well now, and could possibly pull off double win. So we're just waiting for the standings, but as far as I know, I think in terms of my very limited arithmetic, I think Sled should be leading by a single point going into the last race. But wait to have that confirmed. Obviously, actually, Paprec will gain a position because Alpha Plus were ahead at one point.
You can see this really cool drone footage we got here, how much windier it is up the racetrack. On the left-hand side there is a good line of pressure, good left shift there. And you can see this little group of boats here, and so much lighter wind. So you can see, as Katie says, how puffy and shifty it is out on the racetrack out there.
But this is very much more or less the same position you had on day one, was it? Or
no, this is further to the east.
Further to the east, even further.
Yeah, this is, I think, Playa Blanca, I think, is the bit of land to the north there. So, yeah, as I said, we're sort of directly more underneath that big mountain, that 2,000-foot tall mountain that's there, that's causing the breeze to squirrel around the racetrack a lot more than the course that's out further to the west. There we go.
So we've got just under a month, I think, until the second regatta here in Lanzarote, Portocalero, somewhere you've been many times before. How's that differ to what we've seen here?
Yeah, so as we're looking at this footage here, Portocalero is pretty much straight up that coastline. You go around the headland there and it's about 12 miles.
East, isn't it?
Yeah, 12 miles up the coast there. We still have the same geographical effect of these big mountains affecting the racetrack. So again, I think we'll expect puffy, shifty breeze. I know that the sea state wraps around the corner of Lanzarote a little bit more down that coastline. So on port tack, we'll be bashing into the waves a little bit more than we will on starboard tack, where the waves aren't symmetrical, lined up squared with the wind breeze, with the wind direction. So yeah, it's another great racetrack. We've done a lot of sailing there in some other classes, and of course we were here back in 2008 with the 52 World Championships a long time ago now, Andy.
Indeed. That was here, was it? Marina Rubicon?
That was at Portocalero, my apologies, just
yeah.
around the corner, the site for the next event.
So here's our standings after race 6. Sled and Alkedo Vitamina actually on equal points, and now Alkedo Vitamina with that third, Paprec at 5th. So absolutely all to play for in this final race. It could go any way. Sled on 21 points, Alkedo Vitamina on 21, Paprec on 22, Platoon Aviation 32 points. You'd have to consider they're unlikely to make it onto the podium, but stranger things have happened. But Alpha Plus then, that big 12-point bogey race for them, and unfortunately dropping them down to 5th behind Platoon and 3 points back. No Way Back on 35, 39 for Allegra, 42 for Trinity Racing, Vayu 49, Pravetza 54, Teasing Machine 63, same points for Crioula, and Gladiator unfortunately on 77. But Chriso, everything to play for, a single point between the top 3 boats. 'Twas ever thus in the 52 Super Series.
One hell of a showdown coming up for this next race for sure. Those top 3 are all going to be focused on one another and fighting, and then probably 4 through 6. Certainly there's another great battle developing with those guys, and then 7 and 8 will have a little fight, you know. So I think you're getting down towards the end of the regatta here, where the fleet breaks into smaller groups that start focusing on one another to consolidate their position in the fleet.
Indeed. Who's your money on?
Ooh, they're all good. I mean, you look at
it's heart and head, isn't it, in some ways? I mean, Sled have been the dominant force, but it'd be great. You know, we love Sled, but it'd be great to see Paprec or Alkedo come away with their first regatta win.
Oh, love them all. I mean, they're all good, great friends on all these boats, and we have a great camaraderie amongst the fleet. And but once the warning signal goes up, it's all gloves are off, and it's one hell of a fight. So let's see what happens in this next one. Going to be great to watch.
Katie, what do you think?
Hola, Katie.
Oh, good question. I think, as you say, like Sled have been super dominant, but it would be nice to see someone else win a regatta. Alkedo have been super, super consistent, but Paprec have also been, I mean, watching them sail in the big breeze has been absolutely epic. So I think I would probably have to go Paprec if you had to say one. But all 3 of them are very worthy winners, or whoever wins really, but yeah. All 3 of them are worthy.
But anyway, conditions much the same as as we saw at the start. It's going to be the same kind of racetrack. What did we learn off the start line and the general geometry of the course, Katie? What would you feel if you were a tactician going into the big finale?
I think the start line, as Chris was saying with the current, I think it's a pretty tricky start line. There's opportunities at that boat end to kind of have a gap and get off the line. But also with the current, it does mean that it is long tack port, so I would expect the fleet to kind of tack onto port relatively quickly because they'll be sailing for longer on port. I mean, it's an interesting race course. I think, off the line in space, kind of tack onto port, get towards that the kind of middle right-hand side, and then pick the shifts all the way up to the top, and then hold out on the downwind into that pressure on the left-hand side of the racecourse would be probably what I'd be thinking if I was on one of these boats.
Thanks, Katie. We'll catch up with you again in a few minutes. We'll take a short break before we go into the last race of the regatta here in Lanzarote. We'll see you shortly.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
I've been contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace I can find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I can go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. It gets so loud that I can barely hear. But your words speak much louder than all my fears. Sometimes I just wanna disappear, running until I can feel you near. I need a new purpose, I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching, you're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, you're never too far to run. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away.
Locked in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first into all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? My God, don't we look good together? I should be running away, but so what, whatever. Oh, last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first into all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? You're a bad idea. Oh, but every time I see you, all reason and logic cut their losses. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first into all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine?
Big smile, a funny face. Storm cloud or a bit of shade. On time, unfashionably late. Out of my mind, or barely sane. I'm trying to catch a breath, but breathing it in. Drumming out the noise, but it's trickling in. Keep me guessing, I wonder if you know. World going round, I'm letting it spin. Light is coming down and it colors your skin. I might take a drive to the unknown. 'Cause I wonder what it feels like. Oh, wait a minute, now carry on. Stay down or rise above. Oh, is it a red flag or recklessly in love? When I give it my all, I just wanna be enough. Trying to run it back when I'm cold in the feet. My road is going mad, so we. Yeah, I'll take the plunge to see if I float. 'Cause I wonder what it feels like. What? I wonder what it feels like. What? 'Cause I wonder what it feels like. Oh,
guys. Come on. Okay.
Shotgun in my car. Do you remember?
time I get ahead, I end up going 2 steps back. So tonight, I'm just gonna let this one ride. You know what I mean?
Got to leave your space, cause that's the only way you're gonna elevate. Yeah, you gotta hold the line till it's showtime. Yeah, and just let your spirit shine. Well, sometimes there ain't no easy way to say all the things that we need to say. We spend so much time looking for the easy road when all we need is right there in our soul. Let your spirit Say what good is life if all you do is hide? Oh yeah, you gotta shine your light for the world to see, and let everything be what it's gonna be. Yeah, listen to your voice and make up your choice, and just let your spirit shine. Well, sometimes there ain't no easy way to say all the things that we need to say. We spend so much time looking for the easy road when all we need is right there in our soul. You gotta let your, oh, you gotta let your, say you gotta let your, you gotta
So heading into the final race, the big finale, the big showdown here in Lanzarote with Sled and Alkedo Vitamina locked on exactly the same points tally. In some ways symmetrical in terms of what it was like on day one. We started day one finishing on points locked together with Sled and Paprec. This time it's Sled and Alkedo Vitamina on 21 points. Paprec just a single point behind. It could go any way of three different teams as we head into this final race. So Sled, as I say, on 21 points, Alkedo Vitamina 21 points, 22 points for Paprec. Then a gap back to Platoon Aviation. It's going to be a tough one if Platoon have any hopes or aspirations to get on the podium again. I think they've been on the podium both regattas so far this season. Alpha Plus, that big penalty for them proving to be very costly, not taking it at the time and having to sail back into the course and take it. That's cost them a big points weight in 12 points there. And then No Way Back, their best race of the regatta so far with a strong finish for the Dutch team. Allegre and a fourth there on 39 points. Trinity Racing 42, 49 for Vayu. Pravetsa 54, 63 for Teasing Machine, and Crioula and Gladiator down in 12th and 13th places. But it looks to be glamour conditions for their big showdown, for a big finale, Katie.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's pretty similar to the last race. Wind maybe a bit more stable, like the lull's slightly less low. But yeah, it's absolutely glam out here, and I think it's going to be a really epic race.
It's going to be an epic race, and the conditions quite similar. They're still quite flat water, particularly up at the top end of the course. But psychologically, Katie, what do these teams have all got different mindsets, I guess. Sled have won before. They've won both regattas so far this season. They are the established team with the momentum. Alkedo Vitamina are the younger new team last year. They've never won a regatta yet. They're within touching distance. And Paprec have been so close on two occasions so far. They've led regattas. They've never managed to close out a regatta title. What do you think the different mindsets are, Katie?
I mean, there's quite a few different ways you can approach a race like this when the points are so tight. I think you can approach it by kind of going in quite aggressively and quite attacking and wanting to engage with the other boats and make sure that you're kind of you're putting yourself in positions to kind of almost block them and try and beating them. Or you can try to disengage and try and just trust in your own strategy and your own speed and get around the race course that way and try and win that way. I think, that there's different ways of doing it. It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially as there is three boats, and especially with Alkedo and Sled that are tied. Paprec, I would assume, would have maybe a slightly different, because they're coming from a point behind. They have to do a little bit more if they want to take the win. But yeah, I would anticipate that Sled and Alkedo would be keeping more than half an eye on each other at the moment on this race.
Thanks, Katie. Robbie, what's your thoughts? I mean, in some respects, none of the three teams can afford to think about each other or focus on each other. They really have to go out and do their best. And ideally, one thing we've seen is as soon as they get into traffic, then the odds of losing places and gaining places become higher. So you really have to go out and ideally win a race or be in certainly the top two. To really be sure of taking this title.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. I think that's the case. I think all these three teams that are sort of fighting for this regatta championship will be just sort of focusing on themselves first. We obviously know Sled and Paprec have a lot of confidence in these conditions, so they can sort of fall back on that, lean onto that confidence. And then also our newcomers, Alkedo Vitamina, probably potentially a little bit more nervous and just really wanting to put their best race together that they can so they can come out on top. But I think they will be looking at, just keeping clean. We heard from Chriso just earlier about not putting the odds of your race in the umpire's hands. And I think they'll want to sail a clean race and get away off the line and really make sure they put their best race together.
Indeed, in Sled's defence, I think that was a dynamic situation that changed fairly quickly. I think, at the point, this was at the leeward gate, at that point, they were trying not to give away, more than half a metre to Paprec inside them. And it was at Alpha Plus then came in and required Paprec to give mark room to Sled and... Sled to give mark room to Paprec, and they just didn't quite manage to do that in the eyes of the umpire. So it was a very dynamic situation, but it wasn't really necessarily a situation that Sled could have or should have avoided. It was just a matter of centimetres and half a metre here and there. But it's very easy to say they need to sail clean, but it's who's prepared to push the risk a little bit more, I think, in search of victory. And I think all three teams have probably got slightly differing mindsets. I think, Alkedo Vitamina are very process driven. They have a great coach and he's really pushing them to stick with the process, do what they know how to do best, look after their own areas, and really stay clean, stay tidy, and this is Hugh Styles as their coach, and just listening to him a couple of days ago when he was talking about their mindset and how they're approaching racing, they really have got everything to prove, and they have the skills and the talent and the afterguard to put a final race victory or enough to win the regatta in this last race. Sled have proven themselves time and again to be able to perform on the last day. So in some respects then perhaps, Robbie, the pressure is on Paprec.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned about Paprec just trying to, obtain that elusive regatta win for them. They obviously, we've seen them throughout this week in breezier conditions in the past, just being able to, really get up there and take race wins. So, these are their conditions. They'll be really happy with how they've been sailing so far. And, I'm sure they'll be, falling back on that confidence like I mentioned earlier, Andy.
Indeed. Here we are then, just less than two and a half minutes to go before the start. So many teams, we always say, Katie, you want to finish a regatta with your best results. And a few teams have kind of underperformed here. I think in some respects then, Platoon Aviation have got the monkey off their back in the sense that they've won a race, no way back, got a good second. They're teams that will be keen to match a second good result and finish on a high note. But I think there's a lot of teams out there that will be pushing the risk a little bit more as we come into the start, Katie.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, especially because we are kind of coming back to Lanzarote, even though it is a slightly different venue, it's probably not going to be too dissimilar. And you'd want to go into the next regatta with that kind of confidence and with the momentum of having finished off with a good race and a good day. So for sure, I mean, all of these teams, they're going to think it's kind of super important to be going out and kind of getting their best results of the regatta for sure. Like on this start line, just talking about this, everyone's setting up a little bit further away from the line and a little bit higher up potentially than we'd often see, and I think that is because of the current. The current will be pushing the boats down the line and a little bit over the line, which is probably why we saw a couple of boats over on that last start. I think if you're over this, well, I mean, there is opportunities around the racecourse, but it is just so costly to have to go back. So yeah, I think boats are going to be watching out, making sure they get that time and distance perfect, taking into account the current. But I think there will be opportunities at that starboard end to have a gap and hopefully a clear lane off the line.
Anyway, it seems like Alkedo Vitamina setting up towards the pin end of the line. Platoon Aviation going forward and just trying to take a little bit of a hitch to weather, getting it up to the line on port. Just a little bit of a risky move for them just now. Not in a great position, Robbie, are they? No, they're not. Everyone very close to that sort of start line. You see the mark down the bottom, they're very close. We're over the line at 7 seconds to go. We could be looking at a general. We can see Vayu are well across the line, Paprec across. General recall, we saw that one coming, Robbie, didn't we? Yeah, absolutely. The boats were really far advanced on that line with still a lot of time left. And Katie mentioned about that current. I think that was a big factor. And obviously it's the last race of the regatta, so these boats are trying to push it. But that was too much and definitely a general recall, Andy. It was. I mean, I was really, my heart was in my mouth when I saw what was going on with Platoon Aviation in particular, hitching up to the line on port. and then wheelbarrowing or circling round. It was kind of a little bit of a high risk move. You have to get your heart rate back down after that start, Katie, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, that clump of boats at the pin end, it's almost like someone kind of spooked the herd, and they all felt like they all kind of needed to be vying for that position because the start is so important.
It was Vayu who went, really,
and that current just pushing. Yeah. And I think having the discipline to kind of, or when someone goes around you, you're like, panic, we got to trigger with them, we got to go, and that can mean that the whole fleet is over. I think a lot of these boats are incredibly lucky that was a general recall, because I think a lot of the guys at the pin end had a lot on. It looked like it was going to be carnage, but yeah, I think just kind of resetting, taking that for what it was, which was a panicked carnage start, resetting, coming up with another plan for the next start, and yeah, hopefully they can execute slightly better than that one.
But in terms of choice of the end of the line and where they want to go up this first beat, what did you take from that start, the way teams set up?
I mean, it looked like the guy, everyone was kind of like liking the pin a bit more. I mean, or at least like wanting to be kind of on the bottom of the pack. It worked quite well on that last upwind. I think the Alkedo, for example, who was at the boat end and tacked out first and went furthest out into that right-hand side, they weren't one of the top teams at the Windward. Well, I mean, they were, but they were the teams that were more in the middle were doing a bit better. So I think the teams are kind of wanting to be more to leeward of the pack so that they can come back across on port on top of the fleet. That seems to be the strongest position. So I would anticipate we see probably more of the same, but maybe a little bit more conservative on this next start.
Just watching some of the teams, certainly Alkedo in particular, and let's have a look at the replay then. You can see that Crioula and particularly Vayu it is that go early. Crioula just going low behind Alkedo. Alkedo come back up to the line. This has still got half a minute to go. You can see that Vayu are all coming down the line with 30 seconds to go, trying to find a space. And they end up, it's just, you're shaking your head there, Robbie. It's just
chaos.
You've got chaos, and you've got 4 or 5 teams coming down the line with a second to go, a few seconds to go. Sled actually getting away quite nicely. You can see them there on that right side. Clearly Murray Jones, Adam Bischel and co. Andrea Vicentini and Francesco Bruni wanting to go right, and as well they might, there may be a bias or again on that left side. That seems to be the fleet belief, as it were. The majority of teams seeming to go to that left side. Sled thinking to go right, but it seems like there's a little bit more pressure. We were just looking at that previous start attempt, as it were, and the breeze seemed to be dropped a little bit, probably as little wind as we've seen on a start line so far this week. But it looked like a few teams thinking about changing head sails there, Robbie.
Yeah, you mentioned about Alkedo Vitamina there. Just as a good chance for them to do another lineup and sort of get in tune. They sort of sensed it out.
They sailed furthest up the beat, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Get locked in.
Just kept going. Yeah, exactly. Just locking in the boat and seeing how the sort of shifts have affected them as they've came off that pin end. So yeah, definitely sort of tuning in back in and potentially changing. Yeah, exactly.
No way back changing a jib, and certainly we saw Paprec changing jibs. Kitty, you really want to be set up for the gusts, really, don't you? Or live through the gusts.
I mean,
it's the lulls you want to keep the power on through, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the questions that these teams will be trying to answer, is what you set the boat up for. Whether what's more important, to be able to sail through the gusts or to be able to sail through the lulls, or to be able to manage the gusts. With the wind dropping a bit now, the are going to be getting bigger potentially, and yeah, I think potentially making sure that you can keep the speed on through the lulls is going to be really important. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've not got long to decide. I think the next warning signal is in 5 minutes. So they've got, not long to decide at all. But I think with the way that the breeze seems to be going at the moment and has been kind of slowly dropping throughout the day potentially, I think they'd be wanting to set up for the lulls now.
But the point being, Robbie, as much as anything, the lulls you lose speed, but it's the height that you lose immediately as soon as you start losing momentum, and that's where you lose distance against your rivals.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess it just sort of depends what you're seeing most of, sort of the percentage. If you're having, more lulls, then absolutely you want to set up for those, but then conversely, if there are big puffs and you're getting a lot of those, then potentially setting up a different way. But you're absolutely right, talking about the lulls, they're definitely what hurt the boat, not only boat speed, but then their height as well. And in the case of this fleet, and especially wanting to keep your lane upwind, especially after the start, it's really, really costly. If you have a boat that's powered up through those lulls and they can just sort of gain those few extra meters in their lane, then it makes a world of difference.
So we're looking at warning signal in 4 minutes, but all this time to the good, just waiting to see how the breeze is evolving. Certainly a glamorous afternoon now. Champagne sailing conditions, the best we've seen in terms of manageability. We're back to something more akin to what we've had this season so far. But this is going to be a little more of a cerebral race, Robbie, isn't it? A little bit more.
Yeah, that's
a little more of a race for the minds and the looking out the boat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we mentioned it about the puffs and lulls being out there on the water. We certainly have these teams, I don't know, I guess trying their best to make sure they're getting through the different challenges and different phases of the start. And you obviously have all these teams at the top end to make sure that they're trying to fight their best race at the end here. So they'll definitely be looking forward to putting it all together, and nice to have a little practice start before they hopefully get into this one and make it count.
But in the meantime, it's all about conquering the nerves. Even some of these guys have won so many things before. There's still nerves as they go into the final race of this regatta. It's all about sticking to the processes, as we were talking about earlier on, making sure that everything's in order as they go off the start line, thinking how the breeze is going to evolve over the course of the race. And we have just over 7 minutes to go, but there's so much more at stake than just the podium here. We're looking at the season standings. We could see that Sled have extended their lead so far. Or Sled were 30 points ahead on the circuit standings going into today, and that's a really comfortable lead for them. But there are private battles all the way through the fleet, and as we've said so many times, every point, every place is precious. How many times have we got to the end of a season and you look down the table and one team has won a place on the final standings by a single point, and one team has lost out by a single point, and that is something you live with all the way through the winter, and you finish with regrets, or finish being satisfied with where you've made a place or made a point, and that's always one of the key fundamental watchwords driven by Terry Hutchison, the driving force on the Quantum team for so long now. No way back. Let's look then. As I said, Sled actually this morning were 30 points clear. That's now 25. That shows you how quickly things change. But Sled on 110 points for the season. Alkedo Vitamina in second. Just missed the podium last year. And they're now on 135, 1 point clear of Platoon Aviation. Paprec finished on the podium last season and have got some work to do. They need a 20-point gain between now and the end of the season to get into Alkedo and Platoon Aviation. They're 1 point up on No Way Back. No Way Back on the climb. Alpha Plus on 157, Trinity Racing 164, Prevezza 181 and Crioula 198, Allegra 201. That's our top 10 at the moment. To say midpoint of the season, we go to Puerto Calero and finish up in early October in Valencia, and it's no surprise who's leading the circuit at the moment, but a lot can change by then. Last time we were in Valencia, we're down to the final day, the final race indeed, when the young team on American Magic Quantum Racing won that one. And Chris Hosking, sitting not too far from me at the moment, will remember that Gladiator had a great season and ended up losing a few points in the final day. Very different set of wind conditions we saw there in Valencia, blowing offshore, very shifty, not unlike what we're seeing today. A little bit less pressure, but it's all about winning the circuit title. Robbie, is all about being able to deal with all the different conditions, all the different sea states that are thrown at you over the course of the season.
Yeah, that's right. And also I guess the different locations as well. We obviously touched on that, you know, a lot of the racing is spent in the Med, but we're here now in the Atlantic Ocean, so definitely a whole different ball game. And it was nice to have Chriso's insight on that first race, just to see how, you know, the thinking on board these teams and how they're sort of thinking with the cloth that they use, and sort of how they're sort of, you know, maximizing the boats to get the best out of the conditions that they have. And he mentioned the percentages of time they spent in around that 8 to 12 knot zone and probably a bit more flat water. That's what these boats are sort of optimizing for. But then you come to a place like this and it's, you know, big waves and big wind, and it totally shakes things up. So, yeah, definitely a lot of difference in this fleet.
Just looking at Victor Marina there, the runner trimmer on board the Platoon Aviation winners of the last race, looking a little bit tired. Just gathering his thoughts, setting up to peak in this final race. We can see Vasco and Jordi Calafat talking about what they're seeing with the breeze, what they're expected to do. They had a great race there, got around the top mark in second behind Sled, and then had called a nice first run. But again, when you're talking about teams that want to bounce back, then Alpha Plus were in contention in that previous race, but they came away with a 12 points from that race. So they really want to bury the memories of that race and bounce back, put a top 3, top 2 or a race win on the board to go home with, and go home with confidence, knowing that Puerto Calero is not far away. Anyway, 2.5 minutes, or just less than 2.5 minutes before the start. Prix seems to be very similar to what we saw in our first attempted start, Katie.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I mean, the gusts aren't quite as punchy, I would say. We're not quite getting that top end, which is, I think, why some of the teams were potentially kind of changing their setups. But yeah, it's pretty similar. I'd expect a relatively similar race, just with slightly less punchy gusts.
And did we seen some jib changes? Let's watch and see how the teams set up. But certainly that last setup was pretty ragged, and some teams are really pushing the risk. This current, I think, Robbie, being quite significant.
Yeah, that's right.
On the one hand, you can't afford to be slow coming into the start line with too much speed, being pushed by an extra half a knot or a knot of current.
No,
it's difficult to time it, but you can't afford to be too slow.
All these teams do know that there is that current there, but as Katie sort of touched on earlier, these boats, they're trying to just sort of jockey with each other. So if one boat sort of goes in front, then you sort of feel like you're on the back foot, and potentially the strategy goes out the window. But all these teams, it looks like they're lining up well. As we can see it, we're sort of looking at the top of the line here. We've got Paprec, Trinity, and then Alpha Plus, which is on the far background of your screen there. Last start, just before that general recall, they had that sort of boat end to themselves, and they tacked off in a clear lane. So they're potentially setting up for the same strategy. We've also got No Way Back just in that middle of the line, but it looks like the boats are just nicely set up away from the line, and then they've definitely got enough room to pull that trigger and be on the line. But it's a bit of a crowd coming down to this pin end here, Andy.
Indeed, just watching as Alkedo Vitamina just hold back. They've got a gap to leeward, which has been closed for them for the moment by Teasing Machine. Teasing Machine will open that one out a little bit, I think. Now then, for me, Platoon Aviation going dangerously close to the line at 10 seconds to go. They're being pushed by that current. Very, very close to the line at the moment. We'll wait and see. But Harm pulls the bow down, and we've got a one boat over the line. We'll just get that confirmed in a few seconds. It looks like Platoon Aviation then have to go back, and yes,
Teasing Machine.
Teasing Machine
Yeah, they
Teasing machine has to go back.
got that timing
in fact,
wrong.
We've got 3 boats going back. The other one is, I think,
Yeah, that's Previtza as well.
Previtza's had to go back, and in fact 36 then. I thought that might be the case. Alkedo Vitamina have to go back and restart. That was always a high risk start. Alkedo Vitamina, you have to consider that's their regatta. Possibilities of them winning the regatta are certainly dashed for the moment. They may be able to come back from that, but the upper hand absolutely just now is with Sled. Paprec did not get off the line as well as they wanted to. They're got a reasonable lane to weather. Reasonable, but they probably need to take a little bit of a hit from there, even where they are. But a good start from No Way Back, and also Vayu. So Platoon, Previtza, Teasing Machine and Alkedo all having to go back, and Alkedo I think are still going. That's a really, really big mistake from the team on Alkedo. Coming so close to winning a regatta. Yeah. And actually nicely positioned at the weather end of that group is No Way Back. And No Way Back are in the middle of the group, but Alpha Plus just the weather of the group. Paprec, I think, probably not too bad, really, in terms of their position.
Yeah, they're just looking like they're coming away on that right hand side of the course. A really solid start for Sled, as we see them in the screen now. Just that lured boat there. So really solid start. They didn't push anything. They didn't force anything. Just a really nice one, and they got a good lane out here on starboard tack, and they're really in the mix. So definitely advantage to the way of Sled.
Alpha Plus have a nice lane too, Katie. I don't know which side of the course you're on, but they're out there, the furthest boat to the right. Unfortunately, Paprec kind of in their dirty air for the moment. Advantage just now for sure with No Way Back. Very much their trademark start in the top third of the start line. 1/3 down from the committee boat end of the line, starting with a clear lane and good open breeze where they are just now. Going fast. They haven't won a race here yet, but this could be the launch pad for a win. Paprec, as I said, having to tack out, but unfortunately Alpha Plus go with them at the same time.
Yeah, it looks to me like they changed jibs as well, some of these teams, Andy. So that would have been nice for them just to come off that line earlier and just get a bit more data and a bit more information just to be able to be properly set up for this race.
Trinity also in a slightly tough spot. Don't have a lane and having to get out to the right. But most of the action's on that right-hand side of the course going upwind. Allegri struggling just a little bit for the moment, trying to get height and work away from Trinity.
Yeah,
but in the meantime, Sled going quite nicely, got themselves a decent position. And at the moment, they'd be regatta winners. They have Paprec 4 boats behind. And Alkedo Vitamina a long way back in 12th.
We know Paprec definitely can pick people off, especially in these conditions. So, still definitely keep an eye on them. But definitely advantage on the way of Sled. That looks like they've really held that lane nicely. They do have No Way Back on their sort of leeward edge. As we see this nice drone shot here, but they have just sort of picked their way up this nice first bead and held their lane, so in a bit of a controlling position, even on the race leaders at the moment. No Way Back, so I think they're definitely wanting to consolidate on their lead that they sort of currently have on their closest rival.
So Katie, advantage Sled for the meantime in second, in a nice close race with No Way Back, but Sled have a reasonable lane to live with for the moment.
Yeah, they're looking pretty comfortable to me. I think it's quite interesting how much leverage they've allowed the right-hand boats to get on them. They've kind of carried on, there's the big bunch of boats that have kind of tacked off onto port earlier and heading out to that right-hand side, whereas Sled and No Way Back opting to hold for a bit longer on starboard, and then they've only just tacked over now. I think that just kind of shows that they're clearly super confident with their own strategy for this race, and happy to try and sell their own race a bit more. and try not to engage just yet in too many like defensive tactics. I'd imagine maybe the second lap, if they get to the windward mark in front, I then think we'll start to see some slightly more defensive sailing, especially from Sled as the regatta leaders, sorry. But yeah, for me at the moment, Sled looking pretty powerful, and as you say, No Way Back kind of executing what used to be their kind of signature start. Back on Quantum used to be super powerful. You'd always see them in the middle of the line, creating themselves a really nice gap and then really executing the time and distance perfectly. And they've just done that again and put themselves in a really solid position for this upwind.
On board with Paprec with Alpha Plus just to windward of them. Not the best possible position for Paprec. We'll have to live with that for the moment. I think they want to keep going out to the right. You can see the pressure coming down the race course to them. Maybe just setting up for attack, but No Way Back in control of this race. Vayu just slightly to windward and Sled slightly to leeward, but this left side looking good for the moment.
Yeah, you can definitely see sort of bow up from No Way Back and Vayu as we look at this on-water shot. It looks like potentially they're holding in a bit of a lefty, whereas the boats down to leeward, they sort of seem like they're a bit different pressure, maybe a potentially different vein. We heard it earlier from Chris O mentioning that the breeze on this left-hand side up the course is definitely stronger and is a bit more cleaner. So yeah, we can definitely see that on the tracks.
Now in the track with this left side getting stronger all the time, which is going to be good for Sled. How long it lasts is the big question, and how it plays out as we get up the track. Whether it's a persistent shift or whether it fades as we get up the windward leg. But certainly these boats on this left side have done nicely. But look at the angle that Allegra, I think that is, they're sailing on the other side. But it's going to be fascinating.
Just amazing.
High on the right and high on the left.
Yeah, that's right. Just amazing to see.
On board with Allegra just now.
They look pretty nicely on a good angle as well. So yeah, you mentioned it, high on both tacks, and it was just amazing to me to see Sled and No Way Back. You know, they were actually quite close to each other, but it looks like No Way Back's just got a little bit of pressure that Sled didn't, and they've just sort of taken off, and you can see that reflected in the distances between the boats now.
Indeed, No Way Back, Vayu, Crioula, Sled, Alkedo, Vitamina really have a mountain to climb, but we saw them recover earlier on in the week and really got themselves back up to third, having been down in 11th or 12th. But this is slightly different conditions. It's much harder in these kind of conditions just now to make that scale of recovery. But that right side looking not too bad where Paprec and Alpha Plus are for the moment. But all the time just looking at the angles of convergence, such as it is between Allegra and Sled. But clearly it's going to be interesting getting around this top mark. Katie, we certainly have a bit of a split breeze, don't we? I don't know what you can see out on that right side.
Yeah, you literally just took the words right out of my mouth as you were saying that. I was literally thinking that, there's a kind of split breeze at the moment.
It's like Palma.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, I mean, the right-hand side, sometimes it's looking really good, and then other times it's like, oh no. I mean, the fleet is kind of super split. I think it's a little bit of a roll of the dice of like what shift Paprec and Alpha Plus are going to come back on, and it could come back really strong or it could not. Just looking at Alkedo potentially slightly, like they've managed to come back a little bit more into the fleet from that start, and I think I wouldn't completely write them off, especially on this race course. And yeah, I think Sled is going to be quite in the pack. I think at this windward mark we're going to have, I think there's going to be quite a pack where all the boats come together, and it's going to be again now about how each team can kind of get out of that pack. I think is going to be the really important thing to watch in this race.
Now, we're not quite getting the picture, Katie. Just what's it look like away upwind? How far away is this big relief, the big mountain that's splitting up the breeze? What's your reading of that?
Yeah, so it's just kind of upwind and slightly to the right of us. And I think the breeze is coming. The windward mark has shifted a little bit right from the last race, so the breeze is coming almost kind of straight off it. It'll be bending around it, which will be creating these shifts and this wind bend at the top, which is why the right-hand side can often be quite strong, because as the wind bends around it, the wind kind of bends round to the left, and then it means you can sail a bit higher. Actually, no. Yes, that makes sense, I think, in my head. But yeah, either way, you get a wind bend, and it benefits you on starboard. Which, as you can see, I think at the moment, Alpha Plus looking pretty strong on that right-hand side. But if you do have land in front of you, it does also create a lot of shifts. So it's not just you get the wind bend and that's you done. It can shift about a bit, so it's not just a given.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic racing as points are equal just now between Paprec and Sled. It's very definitely a two-boat race for the championship here in Lanzarote now. And it's going to be who's ahead of who, I think, at the moment between Paprec and Sled. But Alpha Plus doing nicely out on that right side with a little bit in the bank coming into the top mark. Sled in fifth, Paprec in third. Now it's all about how they get to the ley line and staying out of trouble. There's that big group of 4 or 5 boats coming in from the left on port tack. That's going to be definitive, isn't it? It could be decisive for some of the boats as they come into the top mark.
Yeah, that's right. No, absolutely. You definitely want to keep as much distance between you and that sort of bunch that's coming on that left-hand side, especially being port tackers as well. But amazing to see Paprec come back from that right-hand side. We obviously see Alpha Plus as your race leaders currently really going out to that right-hand side and really finding gain, but the race is really, really on between Paprec and Sled. There's absolutely nothing in it, and the points are equal, so a great sort of first beat to really get this race underway.
Katie, talk us round this top mark then. We've got Alpha Plus coming round, the team which really had a bitter pill to swallow in the previous race, really coming round with actually in the end quite a comfortable lead, Katie.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of how you kind of reset from the previous race. They get themselves a super comfortable ley line and managed to come around with, as you say, a pretty nice lead. No way back, just kind of following them round. And then you've got 3 boats, the next 3 boats are kind of rounding at the same time. Platoon managing to come in pretty high on that port ley line and actually managing to tack inside of Paprec and Sled. It's neck and neck at the moment between Paprec and Sled, though. Like, it's going to be all on kind of positioning out of this windward mark is going to be super important, and who can get the better hoist and who can position themselves best to be able to attack on this downwind. You don't want to kind of give an inch on this hoist, and you don't want to be stuck stuck so that you kind of can't jibe and can't sail your own race. Paprec managing to get the hoist in first, got a tiny bit of a gap for Sled, and what looks like actually a pretty nice hoist to me. The kite's kind of already just about to fill, but yeah, there is less than a boat length in it at the moment.
Less than a boat length in it, and really, what a finale. Bowman there on Sled just saying there's no overlap. Paprec just trying to stay cool under pressure, maximise the focus. It's all about who gets this gust. Paprec really need a boat between them and Sled. But these are the top 2 boats in the regatta. It's all about who gets the puff, who can move clear. Paprec under pressure. And just to windward and behind, you have Allegra, which can have an effect. But Paprec are off, Chris, aren't they? They've got themselves a gust. The bow is lifting at the same time as Allegra start to roll over the top of Sled. This could be a key moment, Chriso.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of work to do there, Sled. They're vulnerable with Allegra rolling over the top of them. So the apparent wind angle there is probably around 88, 90 degrees, something like that. So you can see Allegra's ahead of crosswind there and rolling over the top of Sled. So now Sled will have to reset in a position to lure them behind to try and attack them on the port on the way back. Two interesting features for me of this race, the current and the convergence line. And the current, you saw that playing havoc at the start with a general recall and a few boats OCS, and Platoon did an incredible job of being OCS and getting up to third at the top mark. That's extraordinary effort by those guys. Well done. And yeah, great racing again down the left-hand side of the track due to this line of convergence on the right-hand side playing havoc over there with it being a lot shiftier and occasionally less wind. But you can see there are opportunities for the guys to get out of the right upwind, like Platoon and Allegre did a really nice job of getting out of the right. I thought they were a dog tucker halfway up the beat, and they got out of it quite nicely. So well done. But you can see here now Sled trying to set themselves up in a strong position for the port on the way out here soon.
What do Patrick have to do there? They can't afford to get down inside, or they want to get down inside Platoon Aviation as much as possible.
Yeah, they're strong there. They're in a strong position with Platoon. So they'll just happily, patiently just sit there and just drive this down to the ley line, down to the gate, and try and jump Platoon to the drive onto port.
They're certainly pushing. They want the race win. They want the regatta win. That would be the way to seal the deal. But Sled, as we know, it's not over until it's over with Sled for sure. Meantime, Trinity going nicely, and just to leeward there is Vayu. Everybody wants a piece of this race. Everybody wants to finish on a high. Alpha Plus, of course, out in front. They've got a comfortable lead over 120 metres. But what a great run, Katie. It's high adrenaline stuff, a great finale to this week in Lanzarote.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think, as you were saying, that is such a critical moment of the race with Sled being rolled there. I think having a boat between them and between Patrick and Sled could prove to be like the critical thing for this regatta win. It's such a tricky race course as well for being rolled, because I don't think you want to be early jibing out. I think you want to be getting down more into the current, which will be then kind of, actually no, scrap that. The current's going the other way. I've changed my mind on that. But yeah, I think there is more breeze on this side, so I don't think you want to be driving out as early as Sled would have had to drive out. So being rolled is super costly. But yeah, I think Paprec are managing to use their speed on this downwind, not going quite as high a mode as last time. But they're opting to kind of carry on a little bit further. Some of the leading boats have just jibed out. Paprec carrying on a little bit further, just putting in their jibe now. Yeah, and we'll see if they can kind of hold that position on Sled. I assume they're probably going to be sailing a little bit more defensively now and trying to make sure that they trying to keep in front of as many boats as possible, and then hope that Sled hope that I think, is it Alpha Plus or the boat that rolled Sled? No, Allegre, sorry. Hope that Allegre can also stay in front of Sled.
You can see when Allegre rolled over the top of Sled weren't able to maintain that strong position to lure them behind. They really dropped off the train there. So it looks like Allegre's had a messy jibe there with the spinnaker collapsing, and that's given Sled another opportunity to get in there.
Yes, and Platoon Aviation had a little bit of a messy jibe as well. It just didn't come out with power. But I think they just kind of jibed into it. They're going quite nice. It's quite a high angle where they are.
Yeah, look a little bit lifted compared to the guy, compared to Alpha Plus in the front of our screen, and you can see no way back there. Jibing looks like some nice pressure coming down the left-hand side of the track, and guys are probably digging a little bit deeper into that ley line down there.
But it's super close, isn't it? We're just, you see the distance between Paprec and Sled at the moment, but there could be 3 boats in that at the moment between them. It's a fabulous second to last run.
Going to be another busy bottom mark here, that's for sure. They're all shaping up here. There's going to be some hectic action coming up.
Fortunately, I think for the French team on Paprec, they've got a little bit of breathing space for the moment. They just need to keep their composure and set up early. Don't push too hard through the for positioning and timing at the leeward gate. They've got Sled charging behind them for sure, but there's 2 or 3 boats between them.
It's a difficult racetrack to be conservative. Obviously, Paprec are in pretty nice shape right now with the overall standings for this one, but with it being so puffy and shifty, you really can't sound conservative. They've got to put themselves in the best pressure they can on the racetrack and keep themselves in front of Sled, and obviously Alkedo is a long way back now, but don't make any mistakes. Sail clean. Keep yourself between your competitor and the next mark, and the result should come their way.
It should do, but it's certainly nervous times for the Paprec team. They are in control. They got themselves through, and a kite blown there. I think it's Provezza, is it?
Yeah, it looks like
Brevitza seems to
Brevitza
have
to
lost the
me.
kite there as it was out. Crioula, I beg your pardon. Crioula losing their kite. Meantime, Paprec just sailing safe, setting up for the mark rounding. Alpha Plus are fully launched and away round in good shape as we come into the leeward gate. Actually, Paprec have done quite nicely. They'll just go into this right-hand mark looking upwind, Chriso.
Yeah, nice. That's nice if they can lay. It looks like they're soaking into the bottom mark a little bit. They're slightly overstood, so they're sailing a little low and slow. You can see the spinnaker getting a little bit joggly and unstable with having to soak in there.
They're getting a gust just coming to them at the right time or the wrong time, depending.
Straight in left gate, and we'll see. Obviously, they'll get the
So
spinnaker
Trinity Racing
down.
coming in with pace, but they'll have a clear rounding for them into pressure. Pressure looks good up that right side, looking upwind, Katie.
Yeah, I think the pressure's looking good up there. I think actually a really sensible call by Paprec to try and go round that left-hand gate looking downwind. I think they were on the outside of the other mark. They would have had to give mark room to everyone inside them, and there's just no point in engaging, especially with, I mean, all the boats seem to be kind of really converging at the bottom, and these marks are carnage, so I think really sensible job by Paprec. And the same with Sled, I think managing to actually choose the less chaotic leeward mark is a really good tactical decision for me.
Allegra in 7th, Teasing Machine. Trinity 10th is Crioula. Alkedo have made a little bit of a gain ahead of Previtza, who have got their kite in the water.
Yeah, Allegre not lucky to not get a penalty to me with no way back, having gone round the bottom mark, the right gate, and we're sailing on the breeze on starboard tack, and Allegre sailing on port, a little bit overstood with the spinnaker down, having to reach across the top. They were lucky for no penalty there.
So nervous moments for Paprec. They seem to be high and fast at the moment in good pressure, but I think anything can happen in this racetrack, Chris O'Connor.
Yeah, it looks light on that side to me. This line of convergence that's just wafting over the racetrack like the tail on a dog. It's the breeze is splitting around either side of that big mountain to the north that we talked about earlier. And when the breeze comes around the south side of the island, it converges and collides with one another, and it's got no place to go but up vertically. That's why it's a little bit softer on that side of the racetrack. So all the guys here, you can see them all on starboard tack racing to the left, racing into better pressure away from that line of convergence.
No way back, going nicely just now in second, but Alpha Plus are over 250 metres clear. So Paprec third, Sled 7th. There's about 120 metres between them in terms of distance to the windward mark. So Paprec can just keep a little bit of a loose cover on Sled, or they have to sail their own race, Chriso?
I think it's a loose cover situation. You know, you don't want to split to the point where you're in different water to those guys. So they'll be trying to sail their race, but obviously keep an eye on those guys and sail in the same piece of water so that nothing too strange is going to happen. I can see on the tracker to me it looks like a really nice right shift. No way back, Paprec and Platoon, and real nice righty there, shearing off the guys to lure to them. So I can imagine they'll be in a super fast mode right now. In this breeze, you know, sort of 22 knots of wind speed, I'd imagine's out there. They're probably doing 9.4, 9.5, lifted and put the foot to the pedal to the metal, mate, and send it.
Absolutely. So great moments just now for Paprec. They've known disappointment a few times. Led in Porto Cervo. And led in Cascais going into the final day when they were winning the World Championship. Alpha Plus, we believe, potentially have had a problem. Let's wait and see till that's confirmed. Alpha Plus. Yeah, Alpha Plus, we believe, have retired. I'm not sure why that is, but certainly we could see Ian Moore getting up there.
Oh, that's a broken runner cable, I think, by the looks of things. That looks like the port runner. So sadly, that's the cable that's connected to the top of the mast, and that controls the head stay tension, stops the mast from falling over the side.
That's not their day, is it?
No, that's certainly day over. Sadly for those guys, they cannot tack onto port without a runner cable on the port side of the boat. So sadly, that's the end of those guys. Disappointing. Sorry, fellas.
Indeed, just needing to make a plan to try and get settled. get their coach boat alongside, I guess. But meantime, so that opens the door for No Way Back. Go up one place. That will put Paprec up to second. We've only got Platoon Aviation between them and Sled at the moment.
And you can see here now, No Way Back, Paprec and Platoon starting to sail into some left-hand shift. So the first guy out there onto port looks to be Platoon, and you can see here No Way Back rolling onto port now, taking advantage of that header, getting onto port. And
that'll be the same for Sled, I guess, at the same time.
For sure, yep. Yep.
So interesting moments then coming up this second beat, Katie. This little lefty for No Way Back, who move into the lead.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what these guys need at the moment to stay in the lead. I mean, Paprec and Sled looking pretty close to each other for me, and I think the bunch of the fleet that's on the other side, if they're losing out, then that might mean that there's no more boats in between Paprec and Sled. So Sled could have made a good gain here by going out to the left-hand side.
But Sled have to be in front to win, or whichever boat's in front will win. Paprec would win if they're ahead through the finish line. They'd win on countback. And obviously if Sled have a lead of a point, then if they're ahead, then they'd win the regatta.
Close racing amongst those two boats. You can see the breeze is so shifty out there. It's shifted back to the right. Platoon getting back onto starboard there. You can see No Way Back's track on port. They've been heading the whole time, so it looks like breeze is back in the right phase. So everybody's going to be starting to flop back onto starboard at this intersection.
Interesting, really. Paprec need Platoon just to give them a little bit of breathing space, but Platoon actually are crossing ahead, as Chriso said, getting themselves up to second and actually almost challenging, and maybe in the end Teasing Machine could have play a favour for the French team. They could end up between them and their main rivals, and that would be a great result for the French team.
No favours there amongst the French, clearly, with the Teasing Machine guys tacking tight the lure to Paprec there, not making life easy on Paprec.
But at the same time, they're putting a boat between them and Sled, so it's swings and roundabouts there, isn't it?
Yes, and you can see behind there, Sled's had to tack out. Platoon doing a couple of short ones. I wouldn't be surprised if Sled keeps going, that maybe Paprec will take their opportunity here to maybe get out and put themselves in the same piece of water as Sled and cover their opponents.
But Sled, let's wait and see at the moment. That's the projected points, but it's changing all the time, especially as the fleet compacts coming into the top mark. Paprec with Teasing Machine now just ahead of them.
Here we go.
Paprec coming back on starboard. Interesting then, Platoon then no way back now behind Platoon Aviation. Platoon Aviation looking like they maybe finishing with 2 wins. Sled are now ahead of Paprec, but it's changing all the time, this shift on the second upwind.
Yeah, very
it's
nervous.
Not over yet, is it?
For Paprec there, you know, Sled managed to get a little split into a nice little left-hand shift, and yeah, it looks like they're incredibly close to one another here.
And so too the same situation with No Way Back and Platoon Aviation.
Yep.
This is thrilling stuff just now then. No Way Back having to go behind Paprec. Paprec getting up to second.
Geez, it's so shifty, it's hard to keep track of all the place changes going on here. You can see Teasing Machine up in a nice righty.
Much easier on the water.
Mate, yeah, I think I'd prefer to be sitting holding onto the main sheet right now than sitting in here.
On board quickly with Vayu. Just see main sheets being dumped all the time as you have to do a big duck on Vayu.
Yep, grinders don't like that manoeuvre. It's got a lot of work to do to trim the main back on.
Now let's watch this one. Paprec then having to do a duck behind Teasing Machine. But it's going to be all about getting out to the starboard ley line a little bit, Chris, isn't it? You don't want to be coming in on port in this cluster, whatever.
Yeah, that duck for Teasing Machine going behind the starboard tacker there puts sled vulnerable, in a bit of a vulnerable position with prix, so I wouldn't be surprised if sled puts in a clearing tacker at some point. They're all slowly shifting themselves out to that port ley line, so there's not a lot of runway left to go that way. So, yeah. Interesting to see if sled's going to live there or going to hip up at some point.
Meantime, Alkedo making some gains at the back of these shifty conditions, working for them to a certain extent. Imagine that Allegri were in that mix just a few minutes ago and just going backwards. But there's a great perspective on the fleet coming in on port.
Yeah, there's somebody out there in the hard right that's taken a flyer.
That's Trinity, isn't it?
I think off the screen. Yeah, who's that? Privets are out in the hard right there.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting to see how they converge back into the fleet here.
So, Katie, how's your heart rate?
I feel like you've got like a direct line to my brain today, Andy. Because I was literally just thinking, oh, my heart is in my mouth right now watching this.
It's just incredible, isn't it? It's hard to stay on top of, but it's just the most fantastic finale to really what's been a very difficult week. This is a very fitting and deserving finale. Prix versus sled, really. It's all about positioning coming into this windward mark, isn't it, Chriso?
Yeah, you can see sled
just have sled on their hip.
Yeah, and sled choosing the option to be patient, sit there. They're probably slightly dirty with platoon. Obviously a little bit dirty with prix. A tough spot to be in for sled, but setting themselves up to have one last push and big attack down this last run.
Indeed, but Platoon Aviation looking like they're in a position to get a second win in a row. And that would be a fitting finale for them at this regatta, which has seen them struggling at times with gear failure. Prix in the end in a reasonable position, certainly a boat length or 2 boat lengths ahead of sled. As Christo said, sled having to, I think, end up taking a couple of sterns there, and that's all to the good for the French team.
Incredible job by the platoon guys up that beat. You know,
there's Teasing Machine having to take sterns. I mean, they're just losing out big time, considering they'd got themselves into the match.
There's going to be penalties here for sure. Sled clearly needed to ask for room to tack with, I believe it is whoever that is under Trinity, maybe Vayu, and Teasing Machine probably not tacking soon enough. There's definitely potential for a penalty there on Teasing Machine, I believe, but incredible job by the platoon guys, considering they were OCS at the start of this race. Great job up that second beat to consolidate the lead position going down this final run.
Privets are getting in there, you said, Crystal, coming up that right side, stealing into 4th.
Yeah, they did well. They took a flyer out in the right and it wasn't too bad. I'm surprised that Teasing Machine got away with that one. It doesn't look like the umpire's going to put a penalty on him.
Then Prix have to get settled and get moving. They now have 2 boats between them and sled, but sled never lie down.
Very small problem on Prix there with the lazy spinnaker sheet. Looks like they've got a knot in the sheet, which is not good because that sort of tensions itself around the luff of the sail and could potentially tear the sail. So you saw they just managed to get that cleaned, and now they're going okay now.
Defending a little bit against No Way Back, then sled elect to jibe. In fact, penalty have got a sled have got a penalty from what we're seeing, not quite sure. Well, that's what you said, Chriso.
Yeah, so it was sled got the penalty, not Teasing Machine, or maybe Teasing Machine did too, I'm not sure. No, penalty for sled.
So it's costly for sled. 2 penalties in 2 races. This really does hand the regatta title to the French, and let's see. French are in a good position, lying second. If they could win this, Chriso, you'd have to hand it to the French. Have sailed beautifully, made a couple of very small mistakes, but they've worked so hard.
Oh, what a great job by those guys, you know. So definitely they can back the throttle off a little bit now, sail a little bit more conservatively, consolidate their position and sail safely to secure victory.
and away from everything else. I mean, sled have been fantastic this season, but it really opens up the game. The question coming here for the first time was, can anybody beat sled? And I think the answer is yes, and the other answer is sled can beat sled.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. A little bit of pressure comes on and a few mistakes there. I mean...
it's interesting, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a little, and we saw in Porto Cervo, they had a bad, I think, penultimate race was their biggest score. And in Porto Portals, they had a double penalty in their second to last race, or I think it was. And they've been their own worst enemies at times. But anyway, this is looking good for Les Bleus, for the French team. Jean-Luc Petitjuganen's his phrase that we all remember with Jean-Luc ever since he first won a race in Miami was about the conteneur of champagne, and the champagne stocks at the moment in Lanzarote should be under pressure. He did promise, but this is a regatta that they will win deservedly. But anyway, let's not hex them. Let's wait till they get there.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Andy. I'm like, mate, be quiet. Yeah, we don't want to hex these poor guys.
We've been there before so many times.
Oh, we all have.
And I can remember, yeah. Which regatta do you want to talk about?
Oh, there's too many.
Crevettes are coming down the last run in Porto Cervo until the.
I was on board for that one.
Blew.
Yeah, I was on there for that one. There's too many heartbreaking moments to mention, so let's just move on and watch these guys sail safely down this last run.
Isn't that a fantastic shot? Jean-Luc there just looking backwards. And I love that, I've said so many times over the course of the week when they've been doing well, they're so, and the very opposite of the Kiwis, they show their emotions. Every race win, it's high fives, and why not?
For sure, there'll be plenty of celebrating tonight if they manage to pull this off. So keep it up, boys, doing a nice job.
And we also credit to Vasco and the boys on Platoon Aviation. They've had a tough week at times. I've just had a reminder from one of my French pals that it was in Miami. It wasn't in Miami, it was in Key West. And that's Jan Chateau, the helmsman's brother, Cedric's brother.
Didn't they come close in Cascais last year?
That's right. They lost out in the final race in the final day. They were so close, but that was, they really were quick in the breeze and beautiful boat handling. As I've said so many times over the course of this week and previously, Cedric Chateau is one of the unsung heroes of the team. Fabulous helmsman.
Another job completed there by Prepec with no dramas. Spinnaker intact, so always heart rate can go down a couple of beats there. Platoon really stretched their legs down this run, eh?
So there we go.
Really nice pressure there that Prepec and No Way Back are in. Very cool.
The pattern of the pressure.
Yeah.
Just the gusts and lulls. This is really, we expected big, strong winds here in Lanzarote. We've seen enough of that. But we're also getting this. The gusts and lulls. Now Patrick just need to keep it tight there.
Yeah, getting rolled very close to, or probably getting rolled there by No Way Back. So they're in a little bit of trouble here, Prepec, because obviously there's all those guys on starboard tack behind them there. So somehow they've got to get themselves out of there when they drive onto port.
And the fleet charging down on the heels of a big gust. But for all that, they do have a little bit of runway and sled down in 11th.
You see,
Alkedo Vitamina will get second if positions stay the same through this finish line.
Prepec aggressively working low here, trying to create separation between themselves and Quantum.
No way back, I think.
Oh, sorry, No Way Back. Sorry.
Freudian slip, but again, a credit to No Way Back. They've had a good final day. But yeah, Paprec just trying to work low. They've done a good job of that so far.
They've done a nice job there. So they've put themselves in a much stronger position than they were a minute ago with those 3 guys behind them. So they'll be looking to beat No Way Back to the drive onto port. I'm sure the guys behind them are all going to try and drive on top of them, and it'll be a big drag race on port to the finish.
Cedric Chateau, one of our helmsmen in this fleet, who prefers always to sail in bare feet. There's a few of them, Chris, aren't there?
Yeah, Vasco's another one. Yeah.
And Nacho.
Yeah, Nacho, yeah.
Just, they feel it gives them more feel for the boat and what's going on, I guess.
Yeah, it's a dinghy boat thing, right? We all sailed in bare feet when we were kids sailing dinghies. And but yeah, I think my preference is for shoes on these boats with all the rope, and you want to be safe with your 10 fingers and 10 toes at the end of the day, right?
But this is great because this is a little bit of a reprise of the what we saw so often in Cascais. Very, very often then it was Quantum versus Paprec. Paprec had some races that came off better than Paprec, but than Quantum, but it's Quantum won there. And so I'm sure that won't be lost on the team, French team on Paprec. But coming through the finish line then, Casey, a good win for Platoon Aviation for Harmler Spear.
They got to be happy with that one, considering an OCS at the start to come back from that and win the race. That is race of the regatta for me, that one. Well done, boys.
So there we go. All credit then to Harmler Spear, 3 times world champions, finishing with the big win. 2 wins today, both off the day indeed. And now it's just a case of being patient for the French team. Les Bleus, Jean-Luc Petithugenen's team have snatched defeat from the jaws of victory before. They've been overhauled in the last day of the World Championships in these kind of conditions, but they will be absolutely ecstatic. Johan Richomme second in the Vendée Globe, first ever regatta in the TP52 class. And certainly inshore, he did the middle sea race many years ago, but he'll be 1 from 1, and I'm sure he's a positive influence on this team. One of the teams that have been with us the longest, I think, along with the Gladiator now. And Patrick will just get in there at the finish line now. That is well deserved. That is the regatta win in the Lanzarote for the French team. They are absolutely ecstatic.
Congratulations, boys. Well done. Very cool.
I can't quite believe it. But so well deserved. We had them as the strong wind favourites, but they've been quick in the breeze, Chriso, but they've also been smart and strong tactically, started well just about every regatta.
Yeah, they've sailed well, you know, they kept themselves in contact with the competition, with the guys they needed to worry about in that last race, and as you see, Sled made a little mistake at the top mark and it's cost them dearly, and these guys have sailed solid all week and a well-deserved victory.
Indeed, Crioula actually getting third in the end. Alkedo Vitamina coming through in fourth. Who would have thought we talk about platoon's recovery? Alkedo not bad for fourth.
No Way Back lost a lot of boats in that finish too. You can see all the guys that jibed inside them onto port on the way back and sailed over the top of No Way Back and cost them dearly there. They've gone from, what, second or third to ninth. Tough one for those boys.
So, say Champagne stocks in Playa Blanca under pressure, I'd imagine. And sure. I think this season's not really gone as well as they'd hoped. They came into the season having finished on the podium for this season. They wanted to go better, and it's not really gone as well. I mean, it's a stronger fleet, Chriso, this year than last year, isn't it? More boats and a higher standard.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit diversified. We're not seeing any one boat really dominating. I know, you know, everybody thought Sled was going to walk away with it here or there, but you know, you see today a little bit of pressure on Sled. They faltered. Paprec wins. It's open. There's a lot of good boats here, a lot of good sailors, and the pressure's on everybody.
Did Katie, your thoughts on the Paprec when you had them winning from the start of the week, didn't you?
Feeling pretty smug right now. Yeah, no. I'm so stoked for them. I mean, they're such a great team. They're always so friendly and they're always so kind of like smiley, and yeah, seem to just love what they do. Which, yeah, it's really great to watch.
You had a bit of fun yesterday. You went out winging with them with Stefan and some of the guys, and it was funny actually because it was Lenny, who's directing our 26-minute programs. He made the point that you had all three of the top teams, all three of the podium contenders were out winging together in the great conditions you had yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was epic. Yeah, I mean, if the racing's blown off, what's the next best thing to do? Go fall off a foil board a few times. It was great fun, and yeah, I mean, all still, even though they're all in competition with each other on the water and stuff, it was just really cool to see how everyone still kind of goes out and has fun, and they just love being on the water, which is really epic.
But it's great to see as well, Chris, as I say, you, Gladiator and Paprec, two of our longest serving teams other than the three founder members. But, you know, both of you have moved progressively up the fleet, and it's great to see them winning.
Yeah, really stoked for the Paprec guys for sure. It's, you know, we had our moment a couple of years ago with Gladiator, and we've faltered a little bit this season, but, you know, we need to take the gloves off and get to work and, you know, raise our game and make sure that we're prepared and ready to go for the next one.
And Jean-Luc himself is a big supporter of French sailing indeed. He obviously is now the principal supporter, the one and only supporter for Johan Richomme building a new IMOCA for the next Vendée Globe. That's one of the reasons that we have Johan here, but also sponsors the La Solitaire de Figaro, or the Paprec La Solitaire de Figaro for another year, I think. And also the Paprec Transat 200 race across the Atlantic sponsors a race in the 600-mile race in the Mediterranean. So he's a big supporter of sailing in France and beyond. And this is him having his moment with his team. And of course, Loic Perron, an incredible character. You've obviously got a chance to speak to him from time to time around the boat park.
Yeah, he's a character and he's a legend, you know.
A proper legend.
Legend.
You heard his story the other day about when he came here in 1979 and put his mini up the rocks at Papagayo.
Hey, those guys that sail around the world on their own, I don't know.
This was in his mini, and
they're crazy.
The best part of the story, and we'll put it online again, is he spent the night in this little cave watching his mini on the rocks, and then in the morning there was a fishing boat and a ketch out in the water, and he said, "I swam out to the fishing boat." Like, off he goes. I swam from the fishing boat to the ketch.
Wow, incredible what those guys achieved.
And then he had both put a halyard onto his boat, and they both pulled him off. And obviously Loic also, you know, he's done everything in the sport. He really has, and he loves this racing. This is all he does now, and he's progressed regatta by regatta.
I think that's a good thing to note, isn't it? You know, it's a sign of a brilliant sailor that they can cross-pollinate across different styles of our sport. You know, they can go out sailing on their own around the world and win that. Come here in the 52s and win a regatta here. It's a sign of a truly great sailor, obviously truly great team. So, yeah, well done again to those guys.
Indeed. So food for thought a little bit for next month in Puerto Calero.
Yeah, I don't expect the conditions to be too different. You know, Lanzarote we're out here in the Canary Islands in the trade winds, so pretty confident it's not going to be light there. They are, boys. Good on you, fellas.
Indeed. And what's the kind of debrief from the sled team then, do you think?
Well, clearly they're going to have to debrief keeping their noses clean and staying out of trouble. You know, that penalty
they've been
at the
good
top
at that,
mark.
but then they've had that.
They have.
The double penalty on that one day in Puerto Portales and two penalties in successive races here.
Yeah, and you see how costly they are. So that's obviously they're doing everything else really well. And there's one part of their sailing that's letting them down a little bit, and that's those, you know, incredibly costly penalties. So I'm sure they'll be going back, looking at those, analysing those, and seeing how they could manage those situations differently to make sure that they don't put themselves in those positions where they happen again.
I mean, of those penalties, the two of them been on windward mark approaches coming in on port, or in that situation where it's dynamic, it's changing very quickly. And so what do? It's not like you're going into a high risk situation particularly.
Well, that's it.
Because the converse of that is you reduce the risk to zero and just automatically lose places.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously lots of opportunities at the mark round, and you can see at the top and the bottom mark how many opportunities there are to take boats, and it's probably the easiest place to take boats around the racetrack, you know, but obviously it comes with much higher risk, and you know, you've got to manage that risk and put yourself in a position where you know, hopefully not going to take a risk and get penalised as a consequence, and then puts you down to that much more pressure.
Anyway, there we go. Confirmation regatta win for the first time in their career since they joined the 52 Super Series way back in 2012. Jean-Luc Petitouganen's team on Paprec, finishing on 24 points, 2 points clear of Alkedo Vitamina, who vault up to second overall by virtue of that 10-point final race for Sled, who finished 31. Platoon Aviation get fourth. They're only 2 points off the podium. First time they finished off the podium this season, I believe. No way back. You know, they could have a good second place in the first race, but as Chriso said, losing too many places, too many points down that final stage of the final run. However, fifth place, Trinity Racing, 2 points behind, 3 points behind Alpha Plus. A really penalising final day for them with 26 points. More points I think they had over the preceding 4 races, or 5 races in fact. Allegra 50 points, Vayu 55, Provezza 62, 66 for Crioula. Teasing Machine on 12th place on 70 points. But I say food for thought looking ahead. We've gone through the midpoint of the season. There's so much to play for. But Chriso, who are your kind of dark horses? Who do you see up and coming?
Trinity being a brand new team, I think they clearly think they're going pretty quick. You know, obviously Paprec going well, and you know, Sled's going to go well and clean up their act with the penalties. No way back. You can never count out those guys. Such a solid team. Yeah, you know, obviously we'll be looking to make a big comeback at the next regatta. We've got a lot of work to do from our breakage this week.
So how will you manage that? Just out of interest, you have a short team coming here, or we're going to be based here until the next regatta then, presumably.
Yeah, and
plus experts.
Fly in some composite specialists. We're NDTing the rig now to establish the extent of the damage, and then we can make a plan with the boat builders to get in and start effecting a repair and get that done as quickly as possible, so we can get the rig back in the boat, go back through all of our dock tune sequences, all our rig tunes set up, and get the boat in the water, do some load tests, and then get the boat back in the water and start sailing again.
Good luck with that, Chriso. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're heading away to join your wonderful partner back in the US of A and your wonderful dogs, and that's a well-deserved 3-day break, I think.
Thanks for having us, mate. Been a pleasure to be here.
Anyway, there's the circuit standings at the moment, with Sled then actually only 17 points. It was 30 points clear. So those of you who are thinking, well, Sled are running away with the 2026 season title, no such luck for the Sled team. Platoon Aviation in second, just now on 137, only 3 points clear of Alkedo Vitamina. Paprec on fourth on 157, 165 for No Way Back. Trinity Racing 168, Alpha Plus on 171. So look at that, between really fifth, shall we say, and seventh, there's only 5 points. Provezza a little bit further back, really have to start imposing themselves in the top half of the fleet consistently. Anyway, Provezza in 8th, Crioula in 9th now, Allegra in 10th, 11th Vayu, Teasing Machine 12th, and Gladiator in 13th for the moment. But as Chris said, they'll be back fighting, they hope, in Puerto Calero. Robbie, your thoughts on the regatta in particular? What's impressed you most of all?
Yeah, it's been really good to see all these teams obviously battle these sorts of conditions. It's a bit of a precursor to what we'll see hopefully next month. So a lot of information for these teams, and hopefully we get a lot more exciting racing in the next month. This has definitely been probably one of the more exciting regattas we've seen for a long time due to the conditions, the breeze and the waves, and I'm sure all these teams will be absolutely excited to go for the next event, and I'm really looking forward to see how the leaderboard shapes up.
Indeed. Katie, your thoughts on this regatta? It's been a fabulous location. Great, really has delivered everything we've wanted. Maybe not quite getting the full 10 race complement, but the finale today made up for any races we lost, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolutely epic regatta for me. Like, it's been so cool to watch these boats really like pushing the limits of what they can race in, and the race course as well has been super interesting. It's by no means a boring race course and a boring venue. There's so much opportunity out there for gains and losses. There's so much going on, so much to think about. Yeah, it's been absolutely epic, and I hope that in a few weeks' time we'll have something similar.
Indeed, in the foreground there, for those of you who need to know, is the new protector rib that's just been purchased for the Paprec team. Their first time out, so maybe that's made a little bit of a difference. But Katie, what do you say Paprec winning here? What's your takeaways in terms of the other teams? Alkedo, Vitamina. I mean, it's so impressive for recoveries. The same too with Platoon Aviation. I think, if anything, maybe Platoon Aviation are the sleeper that could just now turn their season round, and we could see them winning in Puerto Calero. That's my tip already.
Oh man, yeah, that was so impressive. How Alkedo and Platoon both being over and then coming back to, that was such a convincing win as well by Platoon. They clearly are on fire today. And I think, yeah, that could be a little bit of a hint or a little bit of a teaser for the next event. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, that was an epic recovery.
Indeed it was. Anyway, Katie, wonderful workout on the water. Great insights, great enthusiasm, and all completed fresh off the red eye from LA, from Los Angeles. So we'll expect even more energy in the next regatta. Robbie, fantastic work. We'll see you in just, I think it's less than a month's time, but what a finale. What a great final day here in Lanzarote with Paprec finally winning their first regatta after whatever it is, 2012 they joined the circuit, and there's every chance they could win again. Joined us in Puerto Calero in the 23rd of August, I think it is, 23rd, 24th that weekend. We'll have a weekend of practice race and get going on the Tuesday. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in August in Puerto Calero.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.